Okay. How are you doing today, Sure Drake?
Been better, but nothing new for me at this point.
Mm. To a live to watch X Fed. Explain
Just let me know when the recording starts.
detail. It's starting now because I'm live.
Ah,
Another Fed about Mama Max. While Coral Breeze serve together. And let's like, hello, Neo J. Okay. For the people at home, I am live now inside of the Geistwood Media, inside of the Negrohood, with fellow server operator and server owner Shiro Drake. Shiro Drake, say hello to the people.
hello, people. I'm here to be mentally scarred by Carl for your entertainment. That's just a pretty decent sum up, I think.
I guess. Today, Shiro Drake wants to learn about the details involving Mama Max and his most recent drama updates. I'm going to be not brief about it. And while I do so, I will be playing Don't Starve Together on a solo world. Grab your food and your drinks, boys and girls. You're going to be here for a while. Okay. So where would you like me to start? Do you want me to start with the actual proper information? Or do you want an update of what he's been doing since he's returned after being away from the internet?
I know nothing about this on purpose, so I'd say start at the beginning.
Okay. So, Mama Max. A weird friend of multiple content creators, including people like the likes of Mudahar, of Submarinary Gamers, Nexpo, and a bunch of other content creators, decided he wanted to get a name for himself. And alongside that name for himself, he wanted to get some popularity and some clout from his friends and associates. In lieu of this clout that he was getting for himself and for others, it would become a point of concern that people started noticing that he was super into a conversation sphere around the subject matter of hunting children and the cult predators that were supposedly grooming them. One such... Go ahead.
Hunting children? Like,
He was looking for victims that he could then use as the brand to then promote himself as a pedo hunter. He wasn't being a pedo hunter. But he's looking for the victims so that he could use them. So in my mind, he's no different than a predator.
Okay, yeah, because for a second, the way that was phrased, I thought he was gonna do what people want with... Never mind.
Well, when we start talking about Spencer, that's gonna be a conversation. Anyways,
Oh no, he's hunting children like they're furries?
no.
30 section... Oh, okay,
No.
go on.
So, the one individual that this all comes down around is an individual by the name of Camden Gerard Davis. Allegedly, this is a black individual, black male, somewhere between his 30s and 40s, who allegedly is responsible for grooming multiple people under his healthy tutelage. Somehow, allegedly, this individual is responsible for a never-ending shit campaign between himself and others, with the only evidence being, lol, he's out there like a monster. There's a famous clip of this guy basically roaring into the camera with fake vampire fangs as proof of how evil a groomer this man is. To this date, nobody knows for certain who he is, what he's doing, or how any of this is relevant, but this is the information that was given to people as a justification for why they need to follow around him. There were multiple victims, almost all female. I don't think any of them were male, featuring one particular personal family friend of his, known by the name of Spencer. Spencer, I'm going to be very mean, is a fat slob of a woman. This person, effectively, is everything wrong with victimization of self. She is lazy. She has no work ethic. She wants everything given to her. She's willing to put in no personal work, not in her family relationship, not in her personal relationships to others. At any time that you could ever get her to involve herself with a little bit of accountability, it is non-existent. She is the worst kind of person to have around you. And this is the person that Mom Max finds himself truly victimized and incapable of getting himself away from. Because every single time there is something of concern to talk about between himself or her, it would be in the interest of Spencer to effectively cry, bitch, and moan about everything from him paying her way through life, through platforming her for personal success as a YouTuber, and even complaining about the type of fucking box meal he would buy her for food from Taco Bell. From how she was introduced to the internet, we were led to believe that she's just another victim along with everybody else. But no, she's a personal family friend of Mama Max. And so the story would go, with Spencer basically being the face of all of these women that had been victimized by the alleged black groomer. It would be the goal of Mama Max to create content around exposing this man. In his infinite wisdom, or lack thereof, he would go on to make a campaign, and that campaign would seek to use Camden Gerard Davis and others around him or like him to explain how we can't allow for men like this to exist in our spaces. Now, I'm going to let you guess. What do you think is the stupidest thing he does during this?
Just makes up claims out of whole cloth.
You'd be surprised to know that no, it is not exactly that. He does something even stupider. Well, actually, no, he does, but it's not a whole cloth. It's more like half cloth. So he does two things, which is why you're half right. The first thing he does is that he takes the accusations and the evidence of abuse, and he plays it as though it is dramatized material. Basically, like it's an ARG pedo hunt. He puts on a voice changer. And he decides to dramatize the content because that's going to get people to care more if they have a story to develop and follow. This works out exactly as much as you think it does.
So not at all.
Not at all. Personal friends of his, YouTubers, when told that they should support his movement, have no fucking idea what the hell it is he's talking about or who it is he's referring to. So all of them let that shit pass them by. Then, he changes the name of his channel away from his personal user identity of Mama Max to some other fucking bullshit. I can't remember exactly what the name is. It's so murky now because it's been so long ago. But basically, something that is not actually his name, where it's not recognizable that it's the Mama Max channel, combined with the usage of complaining and talking about this ongoing drama involving this user, and the fiction that he ends up crafting to try to get people to care about, yeah, but it could happen to you too. people basically tune the fuck out on this news story. It then becomes a subject of conversation alongside people like Mudahar and other drama YouTubers about how no one will support him because he is the only person who has put any kind of focus in on the story. I believe it was it Nicholas Diorio who, in response to him saying, I'm the only one interested in it, because he is in fact the only one, because nobody gives a fuck or cares, because nobody can understand what the fuck's going on. It would be at this point that people would start writing him off entirely, just treating him like he was a fucking retard. Because obviously, if he can't properly present his content in a way where other people can follow along with what the fuck it is he's talking about, how is the common layman supposed to know what the hell is going on there at all? This would come to a head with the fact that because of his fiction that he chose to spin about the material that he was involved in, that he would just simply treat other people as though they are responsible for his failure. Because you didn't support me, because you didn't shout my content out, I am now suffering, wah wah wah, boo-hoo, poor me. Basically.
Speaking of which, subscribe to Geistwind Media. Watch my horrible, horrible videos. That's right, Dance Monkey shot my content. Sorry, you were saying?
Yes, Chad, he is like this sometimes. Because
if I don't have fun, I'll cry.
If he doesn't blame other people, he blames the trolls for his inability to get anything done on the front of his issues and topics. Which then leads to everyone telling him to his face, no, we just don't understand what the fuck's going on. And this would then lead him to crash out multiple times. In the course of several months, it was just like a slow-moving train wreck. People would tell him the reason why we can't support you is because we don't understand what's going on. He would get upset. He would blame other people. He would say the reason why you don't understand is because you're not listening. You're not listening. Think, Mark, think. And eventually, ow, my hand. Carl, you know I have the lore. Just ask me. Well, I'm inside of the Geistwind Media service, so you'd have to come inside this live. Although you can just give me the context also in my DMs if you don't feel like doing that. Back and forth over a course of months with a bunch of different content creators, he effectively creates a godhead cult around himself, where he is responsible for the care and safety of the Camden Gerard Davis victims, while Spencer and her big fat mouth complains about the housing that he's giving her and the support that he's giving her, while paying out of his pocket to basically house her in his own home, since they are childhood friends that his family personally knows. This information is not properly communicated at any point in time, by the way. She's treated as though she's just another victim, but it becomes very obvious that she's being given some level of special treatment other than the other men and women that are a part of the group, and that their opinions are falling afoul to her desires, rather than everybody being concerned with how monies were being handled, how monies were being raised, how they were being disseminated through the victims, and how they were supposed to be able to get their narrative and story told, while this fat hog was hogging up all the goddamn spotlight, complaining all the time that she's not getting more content and more views. Eventually, this would come to a head. That in order for other content creators to jump into talking and understanding the content in question, they would have to sign ChatGPT generated non-disclosure agreements in order to view the content in question, so that they could even spend their time doing it. Famously, people like Charlie would do this, and then he got COVID and was distracted by other content, and Mala Max would get upset at him, not reacting to him in a proper space of time. It would be here where a lot of the leaking would start occurring, because obviously anybody got no time for fucking NDAs that aren't even legally binding.
Just so I'm following clearly, he used ChatGPT to create an NDA to show people evidence of supposed criminal wrongdoing, and then got mad if you didn't respond or make videos fast enough, or broke the Chat GPT written NDA.
That is correct.
Does he understand how to investigate things?
No.
Answer that. I'm pretty sure I already know. I just... How does he even get his information to share to people? Like, where does this stuff come from?
A very poor summation of online internet sleuthing, attributable to a small pedo hunter channel. Period.
So, no info vetting, no follow-up, no real witness statement, no double checks, no verification, no multiple sources, no corroborating evidence, just one small no-name pedo hunting channel
That is correct,
is the basis of all of his information.
That is correct, sir.
Okay, carry on.
On top of this, he was running off of Reddit-level autism from inside of his community. The channel name, as Horror's reminding me, was named God Cult. So, most of the people, when they came across it, basically thought it was some type of funny ARG somebody was putting together. Which is probably part of the reason he had a downfall. And it came to a head that he became a lol cow in his own right, because Amal, lol, who is this person and why is he taking all this stuff seriously, like it's actual real stuff? Eventually, the more people looked into it and tried to give him benefit of the doubt, the more people started looking at it and saying, listen bro, I don't know what the fuck's going on here, but this isn't my problem anymore, and it looks like you've got bigger issues on your fucking hands that you could fucking handle. So, like, bye. And they pretty much left him to his own devices with absolutely no way to truly deal with the problem directly, other than having to go through other sources. So, comparative to private software or any other big-name size queen lolcow that refuses to speak to other people beneath him, he kept trying to go to other content creators and talk about this either in what would then become publicly shared conversations that then allowed the internet to weigh in, or in private conversations that were had behind the scenes, where they would tell him these opinions along the lines of, bro, that's really cool, but, like, I don't understand this, and I also don't have the bandwidth and time for this. This would eventually then lead to him getting used and crashed out, because he got tired of people not listening to him, as well as the fact that it would start becoming the interest of internet lolcows in their own right to effectively use him as a good jumping in point to say, hey, here's somebody who we can make fun of that nobody's going to defend. Look at him. He's so stupid.
In their defense, I have a sinking suspicion David Politis does better research than this man.
It is possible, yes. I don't know who that is.
When you have a chance, go look at the missing 411, or why all of these people missing in America were kidnapped by Bigfoot.
I'm out. Now,
I just... Ugh.
Now, the news of the story becomes less interesting at this point in time, because this would be when he would disappear from the internet and basically laughed out as a laughingstock. But I dropped it. Try to grab that. What would come about this would actually start happening more on the return to the internet rather than the shit he was doing beforehand. However, he was not a good figure in his own right. Most of people who came to know who he was or what he did knew of him because of his associations with people around him who were his friends, such as individuals like Nexpo, and the fact that he was basically one step removed from being an internet cheerleader. In the sense that it's not what he did, but it was who he knew, and whether or not people thought he was a cool guy because he was nearby them while they were doing content of their own. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
So, in the meantime, where he was basically laughed off the internet, Mama Max would become a member of a volunteer group that specialized in basically doing his job, and properly this time. Namely, that being a group that specialized in the advocacy, the protection, and litigation of information for children and their protection. Basically, learning how to properly be an advocate. So he was on the track that if he had been allowed to, is the important part here. If he had been allowed to, he would have been able to learn how to properly do his job. However, this would be where the internet retards jumped into the mix and decided to start fucking trolling him. And what they did was that they basically brought up the fact that he was a lolcow on YouTube to the agency that he was volunteer employed to in order to get grounds to dismiss him, so they could make fun of the fact that he couldn't be able to do anything about it, victimizing him.
So they got him fired.
Yes, they got him dismissed and fired.
Okay. I mean, I'm not about that, but alright.
I would say that it's extremely gay how they chose to do this, because the entire point of getting him fired was not because of actual wounded harms or problems brought to children, but because of the fact that they thought it would be really funny if he would lose his job, so they could continue attacking him. Basically, call him a spurg, make him spurg out, make fun of him for spurging out because they literally legitimately fucked with his life. It's like if I went into your house and then I shot your wife, and then I said, "Oh, look at little crybaby. He's mad that I shot his little Indian, Japanese, black house slave." Specifically create the problem, then make fun of the guy for crying about the fact that you basically shot his dog. Type shit.
Bro hit all of my past relationships with one example. Damn. Okay, carry on.
Multiple prolific channels, and by prolific I mean we know who they are, would cover this event. Obviously, everyone's favorite internet retard to the stars, oh god, he is a retard to the stars, isn't he? Everyone's favorite infamous retard to the star, not Pirate Software, the other guy, Carl. Carl's brain is having a brain fart chat. Chud Logic would basically jump all over the story. Not so much in the position of being supporting of him, but just simply the, bad things happen and I find it funny level of interaction and engagement. As far as I'm concerned, I don't have an opinion one way or another on directly supporting the behavior. However, I know that my opinion at time of broadcast when I recorded it was basically, I'm not defending him, but you guys are pieces of shit for that. Because it falls clearly under the internet doctrine of cow tipping. A bunch of fucking cow tippers on Reddit wanted to punish an internet lolcow for existing in the Dragon Lord style of harassing his life and then making fun of him when they gave a reaction to being fucked with. So, what would then happen is that he would get dismissed from the organization, he would complain and cry about it, and then chose to be quiet as he put together his rebuttal video. Now, the rebuttal video itself, if I go to his channel and I look at what it was originally called, was some gay-ass shit. The trial of Mama Max, open brackets, close, my side, close brackets. The most recent video that he put out 1 month ago was Mutahar is a complete fraud. That video itself is 3 hours, 4 minutes, and 56 seconds long. I have not watched it.
For legal reasons, I cannot condone that statement. but I can understand certainly why he feels that way.
Now, before this video that he put out 10 months ago, he put out a video by the name of Speaking Up that was 3 minutes and 56 seconds long. I will play you the audio here. Projecting inside the server.
Oh my cringing Christ! Did he seriously just? Okay, keep going.
Yes. For those,
oh Lord.
For those in context who are watching the video portion on my channel, basically, Mama Max chose to put together a video series, and in that video series, he basically opens the video by saying, "Ha, I'm being made fun of. Boo, oh brother, this guy stinks!" And even edited in a virtual tomato for him to dodge.
Oh, God damn it.
Yes, it reeks of theater kid energy. It reeks of theater kid energy. Now, it is not so much important, but it is a relevant note to know that he raised $757 using a National Center for Missing and Exploited Children fundraiser on the video. It was organized by Luke Steffens and was collected by the NEC around the time of the video's promotion, where it still is up now, and you can still be able to donate should you care to. This video is heavily downvoted.
I'll give him kudos for that. I'll give him kudos for raising money for missing kids there. But at the same time, calling that theater kid energy is an insult to the theater kids of yesteryear. That is just cringe.
I call it how I see it. This video was not very well received.
I wonder why.
This video was not very well received. 1K likes, 15K downvotes, and a comment section of any of the comments that stood out from the who's who, such as Mudohar himself, to any person whose comment was good enough to be funny to people to upvote. He got a lot of comments and replies where people were basically trolling in the comment section. And most of these replies that he got here, as well as in other places as well, was then what he used to put into his trial of Mama Max video, which was 1 hour and 42 seconds and 44 seconds long. 42 seconds and 44 seconds long. Carl, 1 hour, 42 minutes and 44 seconds long. Where basically he attempts to address the problem, where we actually get the most detail possible, which is where most of the actual updates come in here. I am being pressed to remind you, and also inform you, as well as chat, that he had a very fucked up past of mental derangement. First off being, he got discharged from the military because he tried to anti-hero himself. He tried to go the way of Aaron Bushnell. He made his channel initially on trying to emo bait.
We're not glossing over that. He tried to channel his inner 60s Buddhist monk.
Not in that direct way, but he basically tried to anti-hero himself like Aaron Bushnell, not using the exact same tactic as Aaron Bushnell, self-immolating himself for Reddit.
Okay.
He was not trying to do a flaming gay Redditor. He originally made his,
if the shoe fits.
He originally made his channel based on emo baiting, and he became obsessed with a girl that he knew in high school and forced her to spend the night with him in a hotel room, then tried to defame her new boyfriend, who also happened to be a YouTuber.
Oh.
So,
this is all kinds of messy. Okay.
He basically has the energy of somebody who himself, if he was not who he was, could be used as the same type of banter around Camden Gerard Davis as he uses Camden Gerard Davis and his likeness as his never-ending quest to prove that there in fact is a vampire werewolf black cult. Now, the subject matter of the video itself, I can break into two parts. The first part of the video can be amounted to, here's why this fat ass is holding me down, in reference to Spencer. Because he introduces himself, his backstory, the context, and a recap. Then, goes over content involving Night Does and Nexpo. Night Docs and Nexpo. Which is a segment that lasts for, or up to rather, 54:26 on the timestamp. Then, it goes from there into going into Mutahar and how he believed Mutahar fucked him over. And then, as it was doing throughout the entire center of the video, as it was explained multiple times that Spencer was not just a regular degular person. She was clearly a woman with involvements to him and the content. That he would then address the allegations made by Spencer, his longtime family friend, and how he tried to basically pay her way through life, and would go on to close out the video about how basically she is a monster to everyone around herself. She's a monster to her friends, she's a monster to family, and she's effectively a monster to herself, but most importantly, she's a monster to pets. The particular sticking point here is that she was responsible for a single pet in her time and care living with Mama Max. She would then go on to basically stop caring about this animal and basically neglect it, sending it off to be taken care of by somebody else, which would then lead to the dog in question being sent to, I believe the statement was a kill shelter, where it was beating down to the wire, where he was contacted by the person who was in ownership to them that knew where the dog was for him to travel across state lines to go rescue said pet from destitution and who knows what else.
Okay. The Discord noise thing is why you don't hear so much of my sighs of absolute despair and anger. Continue.
Yes, so in the back half of the video, it would go on to show multiple times where he would just start interacting with the comments that he was picking and choosing to interact with, where he would go on to explain about the breeds of pets and dogs that he's keeping. In total, he's keeping 4 dogs, including the rescue that Spencer abandoned, and would use this as basically a way to avoid truly dealing with problems, controversies, and opinions about his behavior, about his past, and ultimate learning from what he had done. Let me check my Obsidian notes, because I think I took notes, but I don't think I was taking that many notes, because I was taking verbal mental notes more than I was writing things down.
Well, this man is basically your standard internet douche canoe, sitting here hiding behind help with pets or, well, it's usually veterans or pets, but in this case it's just pets. I helped this pet, therefore I'm not a bad person. You are a bad person for criticizing me because I helped pets.
Yes. For the most part, it appears to be... No, I did not take notes. At least not physical notes. It would appear to me, during this content, if I remember exactly the words I said as I was reviewing this and watching this, that basically, a summary point of all these points that could be made, because there was additional side content that I was reviewing that basically exposed the other side of the conversation from the viewpoint of Nexpo and Night Docs, where he would go on multiple times in public to basically be a bitch gossiping about other people, which would lead to the reactions and the fallout between them, and the information that would become relevant to the public for their consumption. I don't have that documentation on hand right now, because I'm pretty sure I deleted the thread that it was inside of. But you could probably find it should you go around specifically looking for it. It's not like it's hidden. You know, it's actually out there in the form of a Google Docie with timestamps, videos, and messages written from them to him about it. But this is his side of the story. So, Night Knocks and Expo. He wanted to antagonize particular people inside of the friend circle because he did not believe that they had the right to speak to him as this. So, on screen, currently, from January 18th, Mudahar messaged that he had seen a leaked message from others in his private evidence server where Spencer and him were going to consider a class action lawsuit for breaching the NDA that he had through ChatGPT. So he claims he was going to seek $1 million in damages that would then be distributed between all of the victims. Information like this,
Or
yeah,
his ChatGPT non-legally crafted NDA.
correct.
An NDA that he submitted to... What year was this?
Say again.
What year was this?
2024.
So, Mudahar's fat ass was still living in Canada, who are very strict about how NDAs work. And he thought he could do this.
Yes.
Okay. Carry on.
Okay. Alongside this evidence for why he would not like Mudahar, he would also have this against Nexpo Not Ducks, where he basically felt that he was being given an unfair level of treatment, while other people didn't take seriously the idea of cults. Specifically bringing up the Nixon cult, featuring everyone's favorite girl from Smallville as one of the many fronts behind that entire cult that surrounded about trafficking popular people and popular people trafficking other people, that would then lead to people such as Cedra Antonsen to give a TEDx speech about her experience as a Nixon survivor. That is N-X-I-V-M. I refuse to pronounce it however it's supposed to be pronounced. It looks like Nixum to me, so Nixum.
Oh, great. So now he's an expert on cults.
Yes.
I'm suddenly starting to see why people wanted us to do this. Okay, go on.
Throughout the video, multiple times, he'd be reading comments from people who would be criticizing him. On screen is part of the comment of somebody who would be criticizing him about the fact that he was suing Mudahar, as well as why did he sleep on the story about Camden Gerard Davis for 3 years, only to expect multiple influencers to jump on it as soon as he decided to start discussing it. So effectively, not only was he supposed to have already been doing work about this, but he sat on the information for 3 years, and then expected his YouTuber friends to basically uplift him and his news story and get it trending viral worldwide without actually giving them the information the way a normal person would. Should this be considered a time-sensitive issue? As the comment reads, furthermore, why did you sleep on this Cameron Gerard Davis case for 3 years, only to expect multiple influencers to immediately jump on it as soon as you started discussing it? You is in brackets and in capital. Why tell people to hurry up and discuss it, such as making videos about Moist Critical, not immediately responding to you when you yourself didn't respond about this case for 3 years? Also, why did you lie about certain predators being in police custody, such as Zach Haddad, otherwise known as Pablo Sonny, when in reality you didn't know that he was in police custody? Zach Haddad, aka Pablo Sonny, is another known person that is supposed to be a part of the kill list, the list of successful completions of pedophiles and monsters being hunted on the internet, being a person who effectively got away scot-free. As the story goes, he was supposed to be in contact with local... Yes.
The what? They called it the what list?
No, this is what I'm calling it. Inside of FedWork, when we worked here inside of the state, this is what people that call themselves pedo hunters would call their kill list. The notches on their belt that they use as feathers in the cap to prove themselves as having been successful. I took down this person, and this person, and this person, and this person. His...
Oh, so it's just a clear list. Okay.
Yes. This person who's
Okay, I thought they were calling it that. I'm like, haha, criminal charges forthcoming when?
No.
No, carry on.
No. So, On this clear list that he was supposed to have as proof of him being a successful pedal hunter, unlike those other people on the internet who just jump pedophiles in grocery store parking lots, he would brag about Pablo Sonny being taken in because he had done an investigation looking into this person because they were the type of predator that were stalking people on the social media, I don't know what to call it, social media virtual experience known as IMVU. Basically Roblox for tweens. And on Roblox for tweens is where Pablo Sonny would basically be looking for sweet jungle love with children.
Oh, God.
Here's the picture of the man in question.
God has forsaken this video long ago.
It would then
Of
be...
course.
It would then be in the interest...
Of course he would be.
It would then be in the interest of this individual that as he attempts to have a call with the person, Joshua Zachary Santiago Haddad, that he would brag about the fact that he knew that this person had gone in and had been taken to jail, when in actuality they escaped the law and consequences. And for years, he basically bragged as though everybody should just accept his word for it. It's really fucking sad how bad it was. Now, he would not truly properly address this and tell people directly anything, as would come here from people that would discuss this with them in the documentation, inside of the not docs and Nexpo section. Hey man, thanks for the message. The last I heard he was in police custody. I thought about this a fair bit the past few days. I respect your platform, the way you unveil this information. All of us in the community are still dealing with the weight of it, but it only gets better with time. I'd rather not do an interview for the video, but I would be happy to share my words in written form, as long as I can remain anonymous. Those closest to me and closest to the situation know how I feel about it, and I posted my thoughts a little while ago after processing this. I'm happy to contribute my words to the video, but that's as far as I'm willing to be involved for my own comfort level. So, basically, Haddad was in a community group full of people where he was honeydicking them, whether emotionally or otherwise, to basically giving him free room, free board, free support, and being a pillar of their interpersonal community. When it came out that they were trying to get into the pants of young children on IMVU, something that can certifiably be tied back to his involvement, they in fact did ostracize, remove, and eject Haddad from this insular circle of other people. So basically, babies, envies, and queers. A bunch of babies, envies, and queers, because obviously we know that a man that looks like this is by no means a straight male. They would remove him from his involvement. But what would happen is that Max would follow up with them, because nobody was interacting with him on the contact information. He would ask blank, has the police put out a statement? I figure they asked everyone not to work with me, but I want to be sure that they're actually doing something. So, he was not working in tandem with law enforcement. He basically did this call, and law enforcement told him to fuck off. Great work, private investigator Mama Max. He would then ask the person in contact with the community, do you or anyone else have the contact information of the investigator that was assigned to the case? We have the hotel that Zach is staying at, and we want to give them the information if they're going to use it. So he was basically keeping tabs on the predator. He had the location of the predator in hand, and he wanted to give it to the law enforcement for them to double up on it. The messages that they had given was basically, we are trying to leave this off of our hands, as we've done everything we can. We're dealing with the aftermath of his eviction and providing support for the people who are closest to him. We have no contact with investigators, and for now we'd like some space, as we are also grieving and processing the situation. Although, they did appreciate him for all the help. He would then contact them again about whether or not they have heard nothing about Haddad, either from authorities or from the peers, while being in contact with his victims that want to testify against them, and if they had anything that they could use to help, thanking them for their time and their response. The response from the contact group member of the group, I'm going to call them the Gay House, just for sake of the explanation. The contact from the Gay House would tell them, unfortunately, we do not, because we have not heard anything from this family or law enforcement, after they all gave them action impact statements and have not been offered any any evidence in the house. And nobody that he knows of is in contact with them, and the person that he was with at the time as a romantic partner are not together. He would thank them for the response and for the help, and he would give for the context of the information in question from other people who were also victims of Zach Haddad. Quote, I am a victim of Zach Haddad's grooming and luring of young girls. He did not do this online, but in person when he was 19 or 20, and the victim in question was 15. Though the intentions of the video seemed harmless, the sensationalization and dramatizations of the video were unnecessary. I know you made plenty of money off the video of yours. I ask that you donate the proceeds of the money that you made off of them to the victims of his that need therapy. To keep this AdSense and Patreon money to yourself is selfish and wrong, and you do not get to capitalize off a young girl's trauma. So, victims of the pedophile that he was supposed to be responsible for putting away on his clear list actively contacted Mama Max to explain to him, hey bitch, where's my money? Where's my money in content for you taking accountability for nothing and taking the money with it too? Do I get nothing? And he basically gave a boilerplate response. Quote, terribly sorry to hear that you're a victim of his. You have my gratitude. I've been asking some of his ex-friends for a GoFundMe link, but no one has sent me anything yet, which is true. Nobody wanted to have... They wanted nothing to do with the situation, because basically they were told that the pastor was raping 26 kids under the nose, frequently, every day, twice on Sundays. But he did express that he would be happy to make a donation. He also wanted to clarify none of his videos were monetized, and he only dramatizes the content so that people will pay attention. Which, in his opinion, at this time, on 11/30/21 at 6:34 p.m., seems to have worked. Most of the audience members are child sexual assault survivors, and they have been the ones requesting to push the content in this direction. I still think this is bullshit, but that's the argument he gave at the time. And he wanted to ask them to understand his position. To the response which they gave was, thank you for your reply. If I can help in any way regarding the exposition of Zach, let me know. So, of the one person he could say for certainty he was responsible for putting away on the clear list, he basically went above the gun, bragged about having information that he didn't actually have, and effectively was responsible for the entire internet being confused as to why this was even a subject matter to talk about, while having no true context for what they were supposed to do next, other than just take his word for it. Did I lose you?
No, I am just... Why are people like this?
I ain't got those answers. Now, I, from Single Player Carl and Carl Industries, would like to remind people that I find this to be extremely fucking gay-lating cringe. As this is the behavior that befalls somebody who is really desperate about making sure they look cool, rather than actually being a person who understands the position they find themselves in. And it is of my opinion that Mama Max is definitely, I can't say this word on broadcast, but it starts with an F and has 2 G's.
He is a British cigarette.
Yes. Extremely lame, extremely gay, crying to people about how he's not getting enough attention, and he's not getting enough support. When most of the people are avoiding giving him support because this is the level of behavior that happens when he gets support. Truthfully, some embarrassing content, but it does not stop here. It only becomes more annoying the more you look into it, for obvious reasons. So, moving from here, it would then become the subject matter of Mama Max getting exposed by the archivist and a recording of, I believe this was the Half-Baked podcast, Turkey Tom, Nicholas Diorio, and another figure whose name I'm forgetting, that would then have this content as a basis of expose. Read here.
And being prison.
Yeah, so I dropped.
Mentions of your video seemed harmless. The sensationalizing this AdSense is a night auction podcast. What was going on based on the information I had? Since this was a developing story, I make it clear that I don't know the full details.
What was your primary goal? Is that then? There's no. What's your other?
Well, I guess the question is like that. The next getting at is like, okay, so you want to enact this change. What do you hope is the eventual result of your video?
Okay.
Of all this.
So I know there's people out there saying I'm doing it to self-serve. I just want my video back up. I don't give a shit if my video comes back up. It did what it needed to do. So that was in the video. Is currently in police custody. And
Was that as a result of your video, or was that prior to the video?
Yes, it was after the video. The video was about IMVU and this one predator. I made it about him and him alone.
IMVU is a game, right? You played the game and you exposed this guy.
Yes.
Do you mind walking me through the chain of events that led from your video to him being in prison?
Yeah, so I dropped the video. The end of the video is a call to action. Usually all my videos are a call to action, like find him, and we did.
So in this case, find him meant like you didn't know who he was, wanted his docs so you could go to jail.
All we had was his face and his voice.
Right.
And out of that, I said find him, and then within 24 hours we found him. And then I started social engineering all of his friends to give me his information, and they did. And then we pegged him. He fled to Mexico. We found where he was in Mexico. I don't know if the police. He was from Canada, so I don't know if the police asked him to
That's
come
all
back.
terrible people are.
I don't know if the police asked him to come back, or he went on his own volition, or they forced him to come back. I don't know any of those details. I just know he went back to Canada and was in police custody for a certain amount of time.
So you lied.
No, Nicholas. Let's play the full clip.
He went back to Canada and was in police custody for a certain amount of time. I don't know if they did anything yet, but I will be making an update video about him soon.
So he was arrested at some point. It's fair to say that. You know
I
that.
don't know if he was arrested or they just like interrogated him. Like, you know how police they don't have to arrest you to question you?
Right.
Because I don't know if his victims, he did have previous victims before my video. I don't know if they ever spoke to him.
Yes, they do.
Dark so far, but we're gonna get back on that after we finish this shit with YouTube.
So you did find out who he is. You did find out who he is, but you didn't put him in jail. Is that fair to say?
I don't know if we put him in jail, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Huh. Pretty funny how these commentary channels keep cutting out context to these clips.
So, basically, the other person himself was his picture of Max. I didn't recognize him in the fucking half-baked format. So, he complains about people talking to him about the material, is confronted on the podcast about how exactly did he do this. He admits to using the prior investigation tactic of socially engineering the friend circle in order to get information about him to do all of this. And basically says, you guys said I lied. I didn't lie. Where most people sat there and understood that, oh, so you were just, this is a game to you. You don't know what the fuck you're doing whatsoever at all. This is a game. You didn't confirm it. You don't have it as something that is registered. You don't have a document of him being a felon. You don't have where he's being jailed. You don't have the charges. None of this. You just shot from the hip. You were wrong. You didn't do your job. And so he's out there laughing the fuck up, safe, because you're a dumbass. So the one person on his list, he wasn't even responsible for putting in jail. And they did not actually get further consequences.
Yeah, that is what it sounds like to me.
How do you feel about that?
Angry, but I'm really not that surprised. Having faith in people isn't really a thing anymore, I don't think.
I honestly couldn't have told you how I could have thought it would go one way or another. As an ex-Fed that specialized in this particular work, with people just on the county level, and then liaisoning the work with those that would then do the case work to present this for the court, this shit made my head hurt. Because there are multiple steps that needed to happen in order for this to go so poorly, and every single one of them went poorly because of Mama Max.
They couldn't use any of his evidence because it was socially engineered. You can't just go to police and go, hey, I know all of this information, without telling them how you know. Like, they're going to ask you how you know it. And you can say, well, I'm not going to tell you. Okay, fine. But I bet you this fucking mongoloid told them precisely how he got it.
Yes.
If he had any at all.
Yes, that would be the reason why the police was not working with him. They explicitly did not work with him because he had spoiled evidence.
Carl, what's a chain of custody?
The steps that are necessary to ensure that spoilage of evidence doesn't occur while using any information, so that it does not become poisoned fruit of the tree, that then causes it to be inadmissible in court. And the people who are responsible for upkeeping this chain.
Hmm. I kind of feel like that's a fundamental thing to investigate. I wouldn't have any solid reason that I'm going to admit publicly for thinking that, but I'm pretty sure that that is a basis, a thing that everybody would actually follow if they want a person who harms children to go to jail for harming children.
Well, I've been told on the internet that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just some random dumb black chud who lies about being white and doesn't have a wife and child, so...
I mean, I could make comments, but I will not because it would be uncouth. But...
When has this ever stopped you?
Fair. That is a fair assertion, but at the same time, you would rather this to be monetized at some point. Yeah, no, this isn't the behavior you do unless your goal is not to help an investigation or children, but to gain internet points off the backs of other people's very real suffering. This is the worst kind of human. I struggle to even refer to this person as a human.
Be that as it may,
I use the term person loosely here.
Be that as it may, this is an individual who consistently holds the opinion that he did nothing wrong, and if it had been somebody different, everybody would be for it. But because it's him, nobody wants to support it.
No, he's done plenty wrong. I'm not saying you're saying he hasn't. I'm just telling him that he is wrong and has done plenty wrong. I don't think anybody would be for somebody fucking up this monumentally. Also, what do you mean he can't confirm? I can't confirm if he's been arrested or charged, or yes you can, court documents are public. You have his first and last name.
Now, because we live in the future and we have the power of hindsight, it would appear to me as though the obvious thing that was done here by Mama Max is that he wanted to do this work with the foundation that he was working with as a way to demonstrate that he was learning the proper means on which he was meant to go about proving and supporting and protecting people concerning this level of involvement with material. It's clear to me that that's probably the encouragement behind why he wanted to get involved and why he did it. However, it would be the interest of those cow tippers from, I don't know, I don't think the farms was directly involved, even though people will always blame the farms for cow tipping. This was definitely a Reddit job because they bragged about it all over Reddit. That it was in their interest to ensure that he was fucked over by them. I personally do not think that it was in the interest of any groups such as DocSpin or even Kiwi Farms to do this. But it's very clear to me that Mama Max would become very crestfallen at this time, after leading up to the creation of this video, because people basically were backing people making fun of him and antagonizing him off of nothing but just the energy of the internet saying he's a bad person, therefore you should support us making fun of him. Oh no, I've burnt a cactus.
I mean, I do support vicious mockery. I don't support the shit they've been doing.
When it comes to this subject matter, on the rest of it, the internet is now on a split position. They understand where he's coming from, but that doesn't mean that they like him. It's not quite pirate software bad. It's not the case of they're naturally against him because he's just an unlikable person with absolutely no charisma, but it is in the position where a lot of people simply don't know if they should care or would back it, because it happens to be him who's involved in the situation.
Okay, see, I don't like him because he fucked up an investigation that otherwise probably would have been solid if it existed at all.
It is debatable currently at this time whether or not things would have changed if he had taken some basic advice and some basic know-how about what he wanted to get himself involved in. It is obvious to me that at this current time, the opinion that most people are going with is, bro, that's not my autism, I don't care.
Autism, no. Did it sign my paychecks? I will neither confirm nor deny, but what I will say is the Canadian police do not like sharing with others. I don't think they ever willingly allow outsiders to try to assist in investigations of any kind, because of how often, historically, that has led to stupid shit occurring. Be it police's misconduct, like the city of Winnipeg, or every time the RCMP has ever looked for a missing person, or the fact that they just bungle evidence to the point where it becomes unusable and the person skates. There is no way that this could have gone with him trying to force his way in, no matter what he did, because the very nature of him forcing his way in would give that man's defense lawyer a field day. I'm sorry, you let an unlicensed, unregistered, random person from the internet participate in your criminal investigation? Well, this was improperly done. He could have followed every rule in the police handbook for whatever city that is, and it still would have gone the same way. Because you cannot assist like this. God, I hate people. Okay. Let's continue before I give myself an aneurysm.
It just occurred to me. I should put the I should make this name for this fucking chat room Between Two Feds.
Oh, you bastard. Okay.
Why don't they just call
Go
ahead.
Black Man Explains is probably safer and smarter, let's be real.
Nah! Anyways, Neo J, why didn't they just call the police? That's a good question, but you'd have to ask Max. As I remember, I don't think he called them for anything other than simply because he wanted the clout of being involved in the situation, so he could put his name on it. I think that's the fair assumption that we can make at this current time, whether you watch the content or not. Because I believe multiple times, the point that I was harping on was he's not learning from his actions, because much like in the case of Pirate Software, and by that I mean the persona and the ego of the individual who was known as Jason Thor Hall, what people wanted from Mama Max is they wanted him to say, I understand how I am a retard and I am apologizing for wasting everyone's time. I am stupid and dumb and I need to be told that I'm retarded, stupid, and dumb. That's what people wanted. They wanted him to understand that he wasted people's time, that no one was accountable except for him, and that it was his job to make clear that his arguments were understood for everyone's consideration, since nobody understood where the fuck all of this evidence was supposed to be coming from, let alone if any of it was actually real and could be accredited as having been something that they could solve for. Effectively, the answer is not. They did not have the ability to do that. They did not have the information on hand. They did not demonstrate the knowledge on how to do anything about that or around that. It was just basically, bro, trust me. And because they went off the energy of bro, trust me, pretty much nobody wanted to trust it. Not his friends.
I'm kind of tempted to ask a lawyer I know if there is anything at all he can find about this.
I suppose you could.
Because... Actually, you want to spell out his name real quick? I'm just going to check. Yay, public databases. What's the name of this guy who's supposedly had his stuff bungled? Well, supposedly existed.
Joshua Zachary Santiago Haddad.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, let me see here. Is this the same person? Nope. Access to court records.
Fuck. Keep making a mistake. And when you're done looking for what you're
I'm
looking for.
not finding anything. I'm actually not finding anything. I have found literally nothing. The only thing close is a Mr. Haddad who was involved in stuff in Quebec, but it has nothing to do with this. It's not even the same name, first name.
Definitely put that in the category of they have no information about it then.
Yeah, so from what I can see, no, this is just cursory. This is the public-facing search stuff. I'm pretty sure someone else can find more if it exists in a more specific database that's not the public-facing one. But just like a cursory record search, there's nothing. There's no record of charges. Like, if you search his name, a bunch of stuff involving Mama Max comes up, but I can't find even an arrest report, like publication, which there would be considering the alleged charges. So from what I can tell, either, one, this never happened, they looked and found nothing, or two, this guy fucked the case so bad that they could not even look. If it's the first, I am infuriated, or if it's the former, I'm infuriated that somebody would have the audacity to make statements like this out of nothing. If it's the latter, I am even more infuriated that you fucked up so bad that he's still out there offending to this day. Because this is not the shit that you stop, especially if you get away with it. So, a wonderful sage Creole Dijonian, how does this get worse? Because it always gets worse.
I believe at this current time there is no information about any of the people in question. Not Camden Gerard Davis and not Haddad. Going back to reference said video, the majority of litigation of issues and problems would come up based on his relationship to Spencer, which I believe he starts talking about here on this piece of content after the expose piece, as he was litigating how he was annoyed by people like Nicholas Fiorio, quote, leaving things out and not talking to him about it.
I know who he is. You did find out who he is, but you didn't put him in jail. Is that fair to say?
I don't know if we put him in jail, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Huh. Pretty funny how these commentary channels keep cutting out context to these clips, and then misquoting me completely to things that I never actually said.
You went on and you said, this guy was arrested, it was because of me, it was because of my video.
So it's starting to look more like they are lying, and I was actually being completely honest and transparent. Regardless, I clarified Zakadad's fate in the subsequent video.
So the hunt continues. We theorize that people try to find sanctuary in the Philippines where they have family. So all of my viewers who are Filipino, wag mahiyang i-upload ang video nito at yung huling video na may salin sa sarili niyang wika sa inyo na rin ang nakita sa ad basta ipalaganap niyo ang mensahe.
So I don't think I lied. I'm not here to meme on you or make fun of you. I genuinely once believed you were making a difference at one point.
Okay, I don't
I hope to hear answers from you next.
speak
I hope
Tagalog. But did he just tell them to go harm somebody?
No, to go find out where he
Because
is
if-
doing.
Because if you tell a Filipino that there's a child predator in their town and to go find him, finding him is not where they stop. Does he just not understand the culture of the nation in question?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. He does not.
For his sake, I hope not, because otherwise that's a call to violence. Oh my god. Now, hold on. If he was being investigated at all, they would pull his passport. So if he left the country because of what ostensibly would be criminal harassment from a foreign citizen, the only way they'd let him go is if it was criminal harassment and not he was doing things against children, because that would spark an investigation, which he then would not be allowed to go. Oh, I told you it gets worse. It always gets worse. It always gets worse with these people. I swear to fucking God, if you can't prove something, you can't just make statements like that, because people will look, and then when the powers that be look and find nothing, anybody who has actual evidence will be ignored because of you.
I just work here.
Okay, I'm not mad. Let's continue.
So, as you can clearly hear from the last section, the majority of his attitude is not, I'm sorry for wasting your time, I understand why you guys didn't support this, I'm going to try to do better about telling people about things in the future, so I'm not a boy who cries wolf. The majority of the tone is consistently, I didn't lie. You just didn't listen. The next section, in its denseness, would involve the back and forthisms between himself and Spencer. Let's see here. Start here. Let's start here. I think it starts right here.
One of you, I genuinely once believed you were making a difference. You, this conversation. Why is Spencer claiming you're starving her? Just for...
So, here's where he starts talking about Spencer. It's best that you hear the section directly from the content itself.
Context, Spencer is the cult survivor we were helping. Max starving and hurting Spencer? Looks like Spencer is on Facebook in groups asking for money for moving. She's claiming Max is domestically abusing her and starving her. She doesn't say his name, but it's very implied because she lives with him. Wasn't Max supposed to give her a bunch of money? Seems like she spent it or he lied. Here's screenshots I got that covered people not involved with him. I met this young girl online from a post she shared in a local group. She's doing her best to get out of a really bad domestic situation. She's trying to get back local to stay with friends where she will no longer have to starve, but can't bring herself to abandon her dog there. I know some don't get it, but some will. She found a friend who will foster her dog until she...
Yeah, that just sounds like standard Comcast behavior.
I mean,
this is...
If it wasn't one, it was going to be the other. I don't believe Xfinity was properly in my zone.
Yeah, that's also true.
Either way.
So, was he starving her, or
No.
is he just making shit? Okay, so she's just fat. All right.
Yeah, I'll replay the section for you so you can probably hear it.
I don't know. So are the allegations that Spencer brought up true? You decide for yourself. So apparently one of her friends leaked a private message that I guess she was sending out to all her friends. So I ended up moving in with the YouTuber that was supposed to help me expose the cult, as it was my last resort. So this is true. Spencer moved in because she was in the middle of a crisis, getting kicked out of her family home. She had nowhere else to stay. And since we were making a documentary, I thought it would be beneficial to have her close, especially since a big part of this documentary was to get her independence. There's also multiple people living at my house. She's been a family friend for years, and so I didn't think it would be weird if we invite her to stay in one of the empty rooms we have, temporarily. Even her father came to meet me and my other roommates, and we all agreed this arrangement was fine. But of course, the internet...
Now, it would be a very important piece of notice that this would be the first time ever that it would be acknowledged that she's not just a victim, she's a family friend, when it was presented as though she was a part of the details involving the case. Many people were upset about this, obviously.
I'm upset about this. This is bad form. This makes me question by default if there even is a cult.
that made malicious rumors about us because of this. In retrospect, it was a bad idea. I know, guys. You tried to tell me. Because she is a disrespectful roommate, a very demanding individual, and a hyperreactive personality, which we will address soon. He promised to cover food, medical, everything. Well, he only wanted to help for the money, so he never paid any of my medical from the start. This isn't true. I paid for her first few bills, but then after everything that happened, I literally could not afford to even keep us in this house unless we were all working together. And so she agreed to get a job and start earning on her own, which is what I wanted her to do anyway, so she could become independent. He was buying food at first, but then he tanked his career, which in turn has people convinced I'm a bad person like him, so people are stalking me online. So there are people stalking her and me online. There is a community of cyberstalkers that are really quite disturbing, and are
This should be the Redditors.
genuinely cyberstalking.
First of all, I was one of the OG people to cover Mom Max. I was actually the person who got the feds sicked on him, which was a secret for a long time.
So this is just one of my many cyberstalkers who has a documented history of stalking not just me, but many other people. They describe themselves as legitimately insane on their YouTube About page, and has obsessively created a number of disturbing videos about me, including one that's so egregious that it's unlisted, where he is stalking me, finding and murdering one of my team members, and decapitating them and sacrificing their severed head on an altar, or something. These are the types of sources for the defamation campaign, and again, he is just one of many cyberstalkers that frequent the Mama Max cyberstalking subreddits. So in the beginning, I did advise Spencer to remain anonymous until the end of the documentary, but she did not like the idea. I warned her about the tactics people may use against us, and suggested leaving the online interactions to me, but she continued to be
So he tried to take the front of being the person who would be about face. Spencer didn't like that. She wanted clout.
hyperreactive, and even after I told her that my subreddits are not actually mine, but are targeted by cyberstalkers, she still chose to interact with them. Every time I gave her advice, she ignored it. So she can blame me for people cyberstalking her, but you can't protect someone that isn't going to listen. So people are stalking me online, and wants me out because he's not making money off of me, but still wants to make money off of me. I never wanted to make money off of her. I even told her she didn't want to do the documentary, and I told her that's okay. Hey Spencer, your birthday is coming up later this month, and I'd like to take you back to Wiley to be with your family. While we're there, we should figure out the healthiest living situation for you. This current one isn't supporting the best lifestyle for any of us, and I don't want to add unnecessary pressure by pushing too hard or dealing with an eviction process. I still believe your story is incredibly important and should be shared with the world. I'd like to help you write a memoir about your experiences both in and out of the cult alongside finishing this documentary. Let me know what you think and if you have any questions. I guess I'll have to find housing for Belfie so I don't lose him for good. Anywhere I'd have to go, can't house him. And honestly, I'd rather not do the documentary or anything else regarding the cult. It's not good for my mental health, and I don't ever want to be in the public eye again after what happened. We can care for Belf if needed, and I don't blame you. You don't have to do the documentary. Your health is priority. But later down the line when you're feeling better, you should absolutely consider writing a book. Your experiences are important, and you're not alone. But still wants to make money off of me? He got me a dog. We'll come back to that. He got me a dog and had me move everything I owned to anchor me. Yeah, I did not want her to move everything to anchor her. I did not know she was bringing her entire life with her, and she spent a lot of money. I simply wanted to document her experience throughout this entire process. I figured out a foster for my dog until I can figure permanent housing out. So I offered to keep him because I love that guy. And she said it was the last resort. Hey Spencer, I'm sorry things didn't go as planned. The internet is a strange place these days, and I thought reaching out to the right people would make everything okay. What happened to us was really traumatizing, not gonna lie, and I know therapy will help both of us. I encourage you to take all the healthiest steps. I want to see you happy again. I think going home is the best choice for you. All your roots are in DFW, and hopefully the green will cheer you up. Rest assured, Belf will always be yours, but we'll take good care of him if you need us to. I know things were tense at times living together, but I think time and space will help. You'll always have a friend in you, and if you ever want to talk, please reach out. I still believe you have an important story that needs to be heard, now more than ever. Get the recovery you deserve, but please don't ever give up. Thank you for being concerned about my mental well-being. I hope you are doing well, if not, also seek the help that I am. I'm currently seeking a home for Belfie, as him staying here would be last resort, and I would hate to burden you further with taking care of him. You are right, this is an important story, but at this time I think I need to put the project on hold as I try to work on myself. Though my biggest issue is needing someone willing to drive the full 18 hours from Dallas to here and back. I have the U-Haul trailer figured out, but I'm panicked because if I don't get out after my dog leaves on the 15th, I'll be stuck here until after my birthday, and have no way to really feed myself. None of that is true. How would I get my stuff back? Pack a few suitcases for the trip. We'll leave on the 24th early in the morning. Once y'all figure out the permanent residence for you, I'll pay for a pod and load it up and send it to you. That sound good? I have somewhere my stuff can go already. I could honestly pack up whatever will fit for now in my friend's car, so you don't need a big pod, and she could come get me sooner if you prefer. I'll be staying with her anyways. I've been having to live off of donating plasma because I was limited to remote work. I don't qualify for anything remote due to my experience. So she wasn't the only one living off of donating plasma. We were all donating plasma because times were tough. I was limited to remote work. That's because we all got jobs and none of us could drive her to work. And she couldn't really perform at an actual job. So remote work was the best option for her. What the absolute hell did you send me? It's for AI training. It's legit, I promise. Dude, I don't have the brain capacity to answer everything at once. If this is the application, how hard is the job? Applications can be long, but the $20 an hour makes it worth the effort. I know you're capable of writing out complex ideas. I believe in you. I probably could if my mind didn't feel like a 50-car collision, but I don't have the mental energy for all that writing. If I did, I wouldn't have so many unfinished stories from the past 5 years sitting in my box. I called more vape shops and sent them a resume. Super proud of you for job searching. Just a heads up, we are about to be super busy with work, so carpooling would be less frequent, and a high-paying remote job would be best for you guys. More money means more chances to take care of your health, and better health will lead to an awesome life. This AI training job is a perfect opportunity. I know writing can be draining right now, but using your creative brains and building muscle, it gets easier and even feels empowering with enough time and effort. You might even get back to finish those stories, as you absolutely should. That's just my recommendation. I won't force it on you if you don't want it. But also, don't give up so easily. I believe in you. But believing in yourself is what truly matters. So as you can see, she didn't even really want to try. He's not physically hurting me, but was withholding funds that were supposed to be mine since January. Saw me struggling to donate plasma just to feed my dog and myself. So the funds were meant for all of the survivors, not just for her. And after I discovered she was mishandling money for her personal expenses, I took over as the financial manager. Also, she wanted to donate plasma. She was always asking us to take her to donate plasma. Even then, we never let Belf go hungry, whether or not she was paying for his food or not feeding him. Gaslights me and also tried to convince me to break up with Michael. I don't know what she means by gaslighting her, and I never tried to convince her to break up with her boyfriend. I was just asking her if she was in a healthy relationship, because by her own words, she has been in abusive relationships before.
This is where you can say the line. Do you want to say the line? Come on, say it.
I-
Say it.
Mm.
Say it. Say it.
Which one do you want me to say?
All of them.
Hmm?
All of them. If
See,
you
like
will.
a typical woman moment. Southern. Oh look, a snow bunny moment. Oh
Yeah.
look, Southern Belle strikes again. Does she let him live in the house, or does he have to live in the field?
That's right. Get it all out. Get it all out. You know you got 2 more left in you.
Hey, look, Carl. I found you. I'm trying to think of one that won't get me in trouble with my wife, because she'll get mad at me.
Why would she get mad at you? What race is your wife, Ashira Drake?
She's Nigerian. Must resist the inner ruckus. Must resist inner ruckus.
Now, for context, you know that I'm part of the blacks that sold them into slavery. My bloodline was never a part of the ones. Well, my mother's father's bloodline was never a part of the ones that had to go into slavery. Not accounting for, like, the 2 of them that got caught because they were slow runners.
He's clearly a slow runner too if he got shackled to her.
And now that the stream is fully demonetized...
I mean, look at her. How? I have a limp and I can outrun that. How did he not?
Look, I'm already catching flack for being a torta pounder, alright? I cannot explain to you how much of a typical expectation I had learning about her background, and upon seeing this picture, I don't think at the time it fully absorbed into me at the moment, since I was in nigga I want you to apologize mode, but I was sad, because basically,
Sad for him.
somehow, by the proxy of Mama Max choosing not to just simply tell people what needed to be told, because she's all over the content of this video, and the entire back session might as well be dedicated to the shit that she was doing while blaming him. Since mostly everything I've already gone over is like the breakdown of everything that he had done concerning the fuck up of his personal career and the actual context that people are upset about. The obvious truth of the matter is that this video has 2 purposes. The first being him to complain about how other people didn't help him with his news stories. And the other being that the reason he was having so many goddamn problems with his channel, outside of the obvious other reasons he had reason to have problems with his channel, was that he was dealing with a fucking louse of a fat ass who has no work ethic but wanted to be famous. And thought, yeah, I'm just gonna get my family friend to keep me up and allow me to eat free food and have free money and get fucking pounded by my boyfriend every other time on the weekend when I feel like it, complain for content, kvetch for views, and then when I don't get what I want, I'm gonna go to Facebook and Facebook's marketplaces and tell people that I'm a lowly victim that's being abused by a man, while at the same time being incapable of not just taking care of herself and not making the attempts to improve her life for the better, but actively harming an animal at the same time, which then led to Mama Max having to be responsible to go rescue said dog, using that dog and any good press he could get in the back end to make up for the dumbass behavior he was doing in the front half. This is literally everything. This is the point on which it all spins. Spencer was literally so much of a goddamn shackle that she is like 5 steps above the piece of shit that he is. Simply because of the nature of how many lies he told about Night Docs and Nexpo that led to people thinking that Nexpo was harboring a bully and assaulter of a person, when it was all coming from Mama Max and his loose lips. Carl, you gotta use the music. No, I don't want to use the music, Dragon. I already allowed him to go in. However, I am being corrected by Horror.
I feel like I should have known that was going to be the form her boyfriend would take.
Yes. However, I'm being
I
corrected.
feel like I should have known.
I'm being informed that no, he did in fact say that she was a family friend in the beginning, and it was one of the reasons why Nicholas Diorio and company were in fact questioning him.
Oh. Okay. You guys really do like the big white women, don't you?
Listen, okay? I am not responsible for this. I am not responsible, alright? There are three kinds of black men, alright?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There are torta pounders. There are torta pounders with cheese. And then there are fuckboys. The first two, they're just people that like women. And it just so happens that the women that are attractive are big. Okay? That's just how it works out.
So what you're saying is we have inverted taste in women. You like them with a high percentage of body fat and pale. I like them with a low percentage and dark.
This is a lie. This is not my favorites. So, I don't have... So, I have no type. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If a person wanted to put anything on me, the type of women that I'm into are all over my fucking timeline, okay? You want to know what I'm into? Look at the porn I watch. It's not a secret. It's not a secret. Anybody who's inside my server who's legal knows what's inside my porn server. I ain't into kids. I ain't into kids. I'm not into lollies. Rather, I don't give a shit about them. I like people who are funny. So inside of my saved favorites, here's a video that comes from such said example of a woman. Okay? She's tall.
Mm-hmm.
She's statuesque.
Mm-hmm.
She wears sundresses.
Mm-hmm.
She just happens to be 100 pounds over my weight.
Mm-hmm. She just happens to look like the woman who ate the women I look at.
I'm out. Funny. Then, you've got women that are like this. They're round in the face, and they're brown. And they like to cosplay.
Mm-hmm. You're getting really defensive.
No, no, I'm not. I'm not defending anything. I'm showing you things.
Mm-hmm.
Then, there's the other one. You've got women that are like this. They're obviously some type of minority. And there's something about their face that makes my brain go awooga.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, this man is proving that between you and this man, the stereotype is being proven correct.
No, it's not. Then, you've got cosplayers that have made a name for themselves by doing cosplays, like Jane SG66. Obviously not fat.
Okay, you're trying really hard to disprove this one.
Then, you've got people like Cup of Alex. Obvious woman who works on the apps. However, large lips, large cheeks, curly hair. Anybody who has seen Star knows that there is some amalgam of these things on these women that I like in her.
I think you're just trying to distance yourself from that man.
No, I don't need to, because I'm the third type of black man. I'm a fuckboy. I know what I am. I know what I am. I know what I like. I know what I am. I know what I like, and I know what I prey upon. I am a hunter. I am a hunter. I am a puma. I am a puma. These women are cougars. I am a puma. I'm hunting. I see your mama in public. I give her a compliment. She gives me her phone number. I go home. I call her, what you doing on a Sunday? I want to pray with you.
Press X to pick up ruined cougar.
At least in the
That's
past.
twice your body weight.
At least in the past. I'm a spoken for man now.
Just saying, he's doing... stereotypes exist for a reason, and he's helping to prove it.
Now, when it comes to stereotypes outside of the obvious ones, something that should be very easily noticeable is that most of these people, unless of course you're one of these people that are weird ones that are just outside saying, I can't see anything attractive about anything, upon which I'd have to ask you, look into goth girls like Barbie, which would be Barbie 616. There is an obvious group of people that when they get involved with women that are heavyset, it just so happens to be that they are attracted to people who might be heavyset, but they have good personalities. And that's all most people care about. It just so happens to be that I live in the South, and the majority of the people in the South are built like Spencer. Both in bad attitude and in good attitude. In fact, I can think of exactly 5 women off the top of my head right now who are a good example of that bad attitude that I'm thinking of. Almost all of them are annoying. Almost all of them are annoying. And very few of them ever take responsibility for the fact that they are annoying as fuck. Be it as it may, those groups of people basically have little to no accountability and take little to no accountability on the facts of the matter. They don't care about they don't care about the fact that it is a choice. They don't care about the fact that it's not about specifically looking for them. It's just proximity. You motherfuckers don't care about that. You're just gonna say your words. And I don't care. Again, I know who I am. So, Torta Pounders and Torta Pounders with cheese. Those are size feeders, and those are size chasers. Just like chubby chasers, and just like, you know, whatever the fuck we want to call Dev. There are people that want to look for people of size, and then look for people of extra size. Super size, even. I do not have this fetish. I just like women, and those women who like me happen to be heavyset. Period, end of.
You think he does protest too much. Anyway, back to the topic.
Period, end of. Anyways, that's pretty much the full breakdown of Lava Max. He was basically taking care of an extremely annoying lech of a woman who took no accountability for her own life and kept saying everybody else needs to pay her way through life, while being pounded by this Torta Pounder with cheese. Blackened. With a sesame seed bun. I could not ask you why she chose to pixelate her face, but not pixelate his face. I guess this nigga's just gonna be out there now. So just like me, he's out there catching flack for nothing. The customer's always...
I mean, is it nothing, or is it justified?
The customer's always right in the sense of taste. However, multiple times, Max would try to get Spencer to socialize. Other people would tell her, hey, you should try working out. You should try coming to the rec center. They have swimming and hydrotherapy. And they just stayed the fuck indoors while bitching about money. Quote here, you had $5,000 that was supposed to be given back to me as funds for the survivors of the cult, but everyone else fucked off. I asked for the money every now and again, but his excuse was always something about bills. So, he would press her about this, and he would ask, why does she need this? And this would become a hard level of contingency in their interactions, as reads here.
I could itemize those expenses, but she said it was fine. Also, whatever happened to the $5,000 in survivor funds I sent back to you in January for the GoFundMe, it could really help me access better mental health treatment when I leave, as well as get me situated when I arrive, and possibly even a storage unit for my valuables so I don't have to worry about moving everything I own in the future if I don't need it. It would really make things 10 times easier. You still have $3,300 after expenses. All I ask is to give me time to send it. It's 5 payments of $660 per month, okay? What expenses? Housing and utilities, Belf's property damage, the hitch, etc. Would you like me to provide an itemized breakdown? No, that's fine. Just wanted to double check. Could you possibly send that first payment before Belfie leaves so I can get him a bag of food for his trip? But I decided it was better to give the rest of the money to the other survivors, because Spencer used the money for personal expenses. Hey, I'm in the ER right now and may be admitted. I really need that second payment by tomorrow, please. Hey Spencer, what are you in the ER for? Respiratory came in last Monday too, but I've not improved. I wake up literally unable to breathe at all, and I'm now admitted, just waiting to be transferred, but I have 2 ER visits to pay off now. They're giving me magnesium right now. I'm really sorry to hear that, but I've already distributed the remaining funds to other survivors since it was meant for everyone. However, I can definitely send you some resources for financial assistance with medical bills if you'd like. No, you said you were paying me $3,300. You don't get to go back on that after a little bit of time has passed. You do not get to make decisions about where the funds go without talking with me about it. You knew I needed therapy and agreed to payment, so you need to honor that. I understand you're expecting payment, but after reviewing the contract, it's clear that the financial responsibilities weren't met, and the majority of the funds were used for your personal expenses. Unfortunately, since the documentary wasn't completed, you're not entitled to any remaining funds. If you're not interested in the medical resources I offered, I'm afraid there's nothing more I can do at this point. I hope things improve for you. So I just want to bring up the fact that she gets free therapy through an organization known as LifePath, plus her respiratory problems are caused by her own chronic smoking. Here's one out of many conversations we had regarding her smoking. Consulting for medical coding, but it's expensive. That's a job? It can be, but I'd have to go to school for it. Proud of you for searching already. I'd be down to put you through school, you just have to commit and we would need financial aid. That sounds awesome. I agree. Do you know someone that can help forge me a high school diploma? I also need to figure out for sure what I want to do. Just get your GED. If you need help getting started,
hold on.
Yeah.
Do you know somebody who can help forge me a diploma?
Uh-huh.
Hi, can you help me commit a felony?
Look, I never said that she was a smart individual.
She's a southern white woman. Do these things go hand in hand aside from your woman?
Now wait a goddamn minute. We do not know that she's southern. These people are from California.
Dallas Fort Worth. They literally said her family is from DFW.
Look, there are 2 types of southern white women. There is Spencer and there is Amber Heard. Just because the fat Alohan region one is evil, doesn't mean that you should hate on all white women in the South.
You literally just used 2 examples of crazy and or stupid.
That's because the other white women are actually black. Because they've been around black people for so often that they code switch between their cultures. See, I call those Southern Belles. They are white people that are closer to trailer trash than they are to debutantes. They say daddy for a different reason. I rest my case. Or rather, if you prefer something better, when they ask for daddy to help them with something, it's because daddy happens to know somebody at Ole Miss, rather than being somebody's old missus because they don't know what the pull-out method is.
Just saying, lack of intelligence seems to be a common factor.
We all know that she doesn't understand per capita.
Okay, yeah, that sums it up. Let's keep going.
Education will absolutely help in every area of your life. That just costs more time and money, though. It's a very powerful investment that will help throughout your life. With that said, chronic marijuana use will hinder your learning significantly. So if you want to pursue that, then you have to find alternative forms of medication. Then education is out. I have no other form of pain relief that doesn't risk addiction. Okay. And I'd rather not be in pain than be book smart. Understood, but it's an option that I cannot recommend enough for positive long-term impact. Also, you don't have to completely quit to pursue education. I'm just personally recommending moderation if you do want to pursue education. But please don't give up on your education. You can do great things for the world, and that will only help accelerate you towards an incredible future. Okay, I'm done now. Sorry for the spam. If you make a post, please just don't name me as people on Reddit are stalking me because of this YouTuber, and I don't want to add any fuel to their fire, but hey, even calling around means the world. I'm taking what I can get at this point. So I think Spencer was just trying to villainize me so people will feel more sorry for her and more inclined to help, but I did try my best to help her. Here's just one example where I'm trying to figure out what she needs. Do you want to go to the movies with us tonight? Can I let you know by 2 or so, having a bad pain flare? That's fine. Do you need anything for the pain? I took ibuprofen, but it doesn't help. It's your hip and lower back, locked and swollen. Do you want me to bring you an ice pack? It can reduce inflammation and alleviate pain. Ice makes mine worse, unfortunately. Also, I think maybe I should wait until next movie night. Aside from the hip pain, I just don't feel up to it since I've been cramping from the monostat. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry, you will be missed. Do you need to go to the hospital? The cramping is sadly normal with monostat. It's also caused bleeding, but I should be fine. Okay, stay strong. So, I did not want to believe it, but it has become clear to me now that Spencer is dishonest. While making these allegations, she acted nice towards me, and I genuinely thought we were friends this whole time. You'll see here, when I found out about the allegations, I thought she was being impersonated. No, someone shared my post about needing help to send Belfie to North Carolina for his foster and training, and she was under the assumption it was something like that, so called it a domestic situation. I corrected her, but I guess Reddit saw before that and ran with it as she got a message from a backdated FB profile with AI-generated profile pictures saying this shit. I see. Would you be okay to put out a statement on your YouTube? Just letting everyone know you're okay. You don't have to be specific unless you want to. I'd rather not, as it'll only fuel them more. They don't care. They just want to speculate. Someone on my friends list is doing this as the messages mention my cooking from when I moved in, and I just want to disappear from the internet altogether now. I spent too much energy panicking about it last night, and I can't afford to put any more into it. She did not tell me about it, by the way. I say something, they'll probe harder, and I don't want my family more at risk than they already are. I'm sorry. I felt she was lying to me, so I sent her a picture of the message from the person who made the Facebook post asking for the donations. And I've talked to her a lot. She told me she was in a domestic violence situation, she's been starving off and on for a long time and needs to get home. So, I don't know. I think she's struggling and trying to get out of a situation. I never told anyone there was domestic violence. I never once said that. I was struggling because my mental health was faltering and I couldn't afford food for a long time. Again, this is misconstrued. I already explained what I told her, she chose to use those words, and again, I tried correcting her when I found out, as I didn't know that's what she assumed. Okay, well in these situations, it's best to put out a brief written statement to correct the narrative. If you don't want to, then you don't have to. But keeping me from speaking up for myself is only going to cause more problems. Staying silent is what destroyed us, and this will blow up regardless. And it did. I've already been discharged from my volunteer work because of this shit, and I'd rather not lose more. How do you want to proceed? This next message she sends is one of the most disrespectful and ignorant things I've ever read, so I'm going to stop every now and then to reply to what she's saying. You can't put out a fire with a fire. So I never asked her to put out a fire with a fire. I just asked her to make a statement that she is okay and none of the rumors are true. But I didn't realize until later that she wanted people to believe I am a bad person who is starving her and domestically abusing her. And at this point, maybe it's better not to work with kids if you know people are going to do shit like that. I know it sucks, but you should cut your losses because nothing will stop them from doing the same in the future. So what she is telling me is to just give up on my career path in advocacy due to the problems that have happened because I chose to believe in her story and help her. Judging from what Michael saw on the Reddit, the volunteer thing happened before they said anything about me. Actually, no. People are not going to change their mind. They'll take it as you doubling down again, and it will make things worse. You've been through this before. You should know that better than anyone that this will hurt us both. So this is not true. I know better than anyone that you guys, the audience, just want to know the truth. But it is very difficult to get the truth out there when there are hundreds of other YouTubers giving you different stories, claiming that they are the truth. Especially when some of them have much larger audiences than your own. But what Spencer doesn't understand is that you have to keep going. If you stop uploading, the truth will just become whatever is out there. If you ignore them, they will go away, but you have to give that time. You're always so impatient to put something out the moment someone says something. I just wanted to upload a podcast and a documentary. That is all I wanted. And after waiting almost a year, I felt it was time to start uploading again. Apparently that makes me so impatient to get something out there, I guess. Let them have baseless claims. You can find better sources of income. Just don't do anything publicized, and they can't try to do things like get you put out of a job. So this is not anywhere close to true. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Just because you stop doing anything publicly does not mean people will stop stalking you. In fact, it makes it worse, because the stalkers are empowered by your silence. The only way to stop stalkers is to shine a light on them by reporting them to the police, telling your local community, and informing your social media that you are being stalked.
Now, this would be important, because people who are in my audience knows that this is why recently I did my stream about Talbot and his personal army requests to Kiwi Farms, as he has been stalking my personal friends for over 7 years since I've been serious about doing content creation. It is the only way to deal with stalkers. However, the way that Mama Max goes about it is in the most stupid, autistic way possible, and somehow, in his infinite wisdom or lack thereof, and the certain absence of skill, he couldn't tell that he was being lied to by Spencer. And you should notice that, considering that the bar is halfway across the screen, that there's an obvious question that you should be asking here. What do you think that question is, Ashira Drake?
Why is he this stupid?
I mean, that's another question, but no, what's the other question?
Why is he like this?
No, that's another question, but what's the actual question you should be asking?
Who cares?
I mean, that's another
Well, me, but...
Why didn't he just make a separate video addressing all of the things that Spencer did to him?
Because he's a vain, useless piece of shit?
I think that actually might be the actual truth here. We'll have to keep going.
Which is also what you have been doing. I don't understand why you'd want to try to be public again after everything that's happened. If it's as traumatizing for you as you said, you wouldn't keep adding fuel like this because, like it or not, that's what you'll be doing. I can't believe she would say something like this, being that people were harassing her, saying if she was actually as traumatized by the events of her own life as much as she claims, she wouldn't keep talking about it online. She is using the exact same victim-blaming logic that was used against her to try and keep me from using my platform and my voice. If you say something about the woman, you'd be putting her at risk of harassment too, and that's the last thing she needs. They found her easily. So at no point do I say we need to mention that woman that made the post. The one who is responsible for all of this is you, Spencer. I don't care what the internet has to say, and after what they did to you, you shouldn't either. This is trivial in the grand scheme of things, and I want zero part, zero mention. I don't exist in this BS internet world anymore. So at first, I wanted to respect her privacy. I don't even feel good about exposing her like this, and that is why I've chosen to be silent for so long, even after she continually makes claims that blow up. All they want to do is hurt people. I know you know it's true. There are some people who want to hurt people, and there are a lot of them on that subreddit that I tried warning her about. But most people just want to understand what is going on, and when you do things like make inflammatory allegations, they are going to want to know what is true and what is not about what you said. And if you don't get the message out there, someone else will. Please understand that this isn't just about you, and you need to do what's best for everyone in this situation. And what's best is to not egg it on. On the contrary, Spencer, you need to understand that this isn't just about you. Now that I've seen firsthand the claims she is willing to make just to victimize herself in a situation where me and my roommates were all working together just to take care of her, this raises a very important question. Was she lying about Camden and the cult? When I first interviewed Spencer, I thought she was one of the bravest and strongest people I have ever met. I was inspired by her story and wanted to do everything in my power to ensure this case gets the attention it deserves. I failed in doing that, and I am so sorry to all of the survivors. Whether Spencer lied about her experiences, I have no idea. All I know is that Spencer was one of the first to speak up about it. She was willing enough to admit to crimes, and there are a growing number of victims who can substantiate the cult's existence with their own testimonies and evidence. Many of the stories you have heard by some very influential YouTubers are not true, and I will go into more detail as time goes on. For now, I still believe this case warrants an investigation by law enforcement, as we have tried reporting many times.
Okay, what's going on, man?
So an individual named Camden Gerard Davis more than likely resides at this address. We believe that he is trafficking minors and has child in his devices. I'm actually a previous victim of his, and I have substantial evidence related to this case, such as a report that was filed back in 2017 against him, but was never investigated. And do you have an address, an email address where I could send those PDF files?
So, yes, before you ask me, Sugar Drake, she did indeed call the police and say, yes, we have information on a pedophile and a victimizer, and I'm one of his victims. Can you please give me the email on which to send you this information? Anything of note that sticks out to you? Anything of note that sticks out to you?
Why is she calling dispatch?
I don't know.
Or the front desk and not just going in? Why call? Go in. Go in.
I ain't got these answers, bro.
What? So you have evidence that he has illegal material on his devices. Would that evidence be the material that's on the devices, which would then be in your possession in order for you to give it to them? Were you just sitting on this abuse material with it in your possession, actively committing a felony for internet clout? Why are you calling them on a live stream? A live stream or video which I am assuming is monetized. Why not just call them privately? What's the case number for that report, or the report number, since you think it would say it was never followed up on? If you just tell them the report number, you wouldn't need to send them a PDF file of the report. They would have it on record. Have I missed anything?
No, I think that's every single one of the questions I would have asked. Continuing.
Could you state your name for the record?
I'll have to put you through to a deputy in order to do that, ma'am. What's your phone number?
But from what I have heard, nothing has been done. Regardless, I still hope Spencer...
Also, what's the name of the deputy that she put you through to? Do you have their badge number on file? Do you have their card?
Well, it's a sheriff's office, too. So, wait. Where does this cult supposedly get? The DFW area? Why aren't you calling the city's police force instead of the sheriff's department? Like the county sheriff?
These are all questions to which she has no answers.
Yeah, you wouldn't just say, I filed a report. It'd be, I filed a report with Deputy blah, 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 blah. Okay, so she's full of shit. Let's continue.
What was your first hit?
The danger hair?
Well...
Tell me I'm wrong.
Well...
Tell me I'm wrong.
Well...
Well, you can't.
I mean, I can say that you're wrong for the way you're saying it.
But am I?
No.
There's a cult occurring here. Ma'am, you live in Texas. If there's something they live for, it's for... Why don't you just look up Waco and what happened there? I'm not even going to need to finish that statement. Let's continue.
Kappa.
And the rest of the survivors find justice one day. How do you feel about losing your job at the children's outreach thing? So for those of you that don't know, I was volunteering with an organization known as CASA, Court-Appointed Special Advocates for Children. It is a great organization that teaches people how to advocate for children in the United States legal system as a guardian ad litem. You are essentially a free social worker who interviews children, their families, teachers, doctors, and everyone who has information on the child's life in order to serve their best interests in a court of law. I highly recommend volunteering if you are interested in children's advocacy or the legal system. I was doing all of this privately, but unfortunately a group of cyber stalkers found me in the CASA El Paso Instagram page, and my stalkers proceeded to harass this organization, posting their emails and phone numbers, encouraging everyone to spam them with the drama surrounding me in an attempt to get me discharged. This was picked up by DramaTubers, which caused even more people to harass this organization, until they were forced to let me go in an attempt to make the harassment stop. That broke my heart, but I learned a lot, which was the point of joining, and I'm very grateful for my training and experience doing so. If you care about children so much, why not get education, certifications, and a real job in advocacy? I did. Instead of being an unprofessional YouTuber filmmaker with all these unnecessary edits. Education, and like you said, certifications are vitally important. That is what I'm actively doing, still seeking education. I don't want to just be a YouTuber the rest of my life. I would like to resolve all of this online stuff first, since clearly I cannot just go get a job without people harassing wherever I'm working. How much money do you plan to donate to the charity you posted? If I donate, will you match? I'll actually match the current amount of donations. If you want to donate, you can match my donation. But moreover, I think the people who covered this video and did not donate any of their ad revenue to this organization should match my donation. Because these people talk, but they hardly ever put their money where their mouth is. I seem to be the only one doing that. Do you really think you can return to this content after getting exposed for faking most of your career? I would barely trust you to do scented candle review. That's really funny. Maybe I should do it.
I don't trust you to do scented candle review, son of a bitch.
I guess not. I guess I'm always a liar. But if I'm always a liar, then that was a lie. This is the difficulty of being defamed, because no one's going to believe what you have to say. Everyone's going to think you're the fraud, manipulating, lying piece of shit that everyone's calling you. And it's an uphill battle. There's a great quote. It's easier to fool people than to convince them that they have been fooled. So, yeah. It's going to be an uphill battle for me. But I think I figured out the right way to go about all of this. Well, I like gooseberries. 9 out of 10. Maybe next time be the vigilante and go after them since you got the sources instead of role-playing justice. Justice is very difficult. I can do my best. I can show what is happening on these platforms like IMVU. I can document all of the recorded evidence of my interactions with these predators and send it to my people who upload it to these mega drives. We all collaborate on sending this information to law enforcement. And when nothing is done, we make a video about it on YouTube showing what these predators did. I know a lot of people are blaming me for the predators not getting arrested, but I'm not an officer of the law. I'm not a judge. We have to look to the mechanisms that are enabling predators to walk free and the mechanisms that prevent children from reporting crimes. These are the real issues here. I know my adversaries want to make it seem like Mama Max is the issue. I do not control these systems. What's your actual plan for systematically changing how sex crimes against children are prosecuted? I'm sure there's people much smarter than me who have policies and systems that can truly make a difference, and I'm going to go ahead and play some of them.
We're economically attacking the young, but I know. Let's attack their emotional and mental well-being. Let's take advantage of the fact of the flaws in our species with medieval institutions, paleolithic instincts, and godlike technology. I'm just going to say, I think Mark Zuckerberg has done more damage to young people in our nation while making more money than any person in history. Oh, but wait, what could be worse? It's as if we let an adversary implant a neural jack into our youth to raise a generation of civic, military, and business leaders that hate America. All right, this all adds up to a bunch of graphs all headed up into the right. And what are they? What's the first one? Oh, that's self-harm rates, which have exploded, especially among girls, since my colleague Jonathan Haidt pointed out it's really gone crazy since social went on mobile. What's the next one? Teens with depression. The next one, men and women not having sex. Next graph, cumulative gun deaths. You're more likely to be shot in the United States if you're a toddler or an infant than a cop. Next graph, obesity, overdose deaths, way up, deaths of despair. When I was in high school, it was trying to die, and now it's kids killing themselves. We got the
Hold on.
It costs a lot of money, that's the hard part. This is per capita spending on childcare in the United States.
What was the sample source? You're more likely to be shot as a child or infant.
Let's see here. This is coming from How the U.S. is Destroying Young People's Future at Scott Galloway on a TED Talk that was hosted May 2nd, 2024.
Oh, that's the one who was counting gang violence as children being killed. Just children dying from guns, guys. There's definitely no other reason. Nothing else happening. I swear.
Fourth truth.
Are we still not supposed to say that part?
I did my time. They can't stop me.
Just saying. Oh, yeah, 17 years, 364 days, 59 minutes, 59 seconds old. It's a child. With 6 bodies on his name. Okay. Anyway, let's continue this. Before I... Nope. Let's just continue this.
Hello, Tusky.
its states relative to other nations. We need to remove 230 protection for all algorithmically elevated content.
So just a quick explanation, Section 230 protects platforms from being held liable for user-posted content. So let's use an infamous teen dating app as an example. Despite the fact that they have a massive child predator problem, they can't be held liable for the crimes that are being committed on their platform, and thus have no incentive to fix the issues except for reputational damage when someone exposes them. If Section 230 could be corrected to specifically hold platforms accountable if they are perpetuating crimes, then that would only push platforms to prevent crimes against children on their services. I know you asked specifically about prosecution, but
Did
prevention
you just
is
say
infinitely more important.
teen dating app?
Why do you think basic criticism of you
Yes.
is psychosis?
Basically, IMVU is in fact Tween's form of Roblox. It was specifically...
That's not a dating app, though.
I know what
I'm
he's...
pretty sure you're not allowed to have teen dating apps.
People use it like it's one. Bro, I can't account for what the children do. I just work here.
Alright. He just loves making claims that are not necessarily true. By his argument, Minecraft is a teen dating app. And
Look,
so is Call of Duty.
look, wait a minute. When BreadTubers are finding audience members in Overwatch, and then grooming their friends, and grooming those fans into just accepting the fact that they have friends of theirs that will just sexually be aggressive in voice chats, whether or not they are or not paid employees, like what was happening around people such as Demon Mama, that's not too far off from the truth, bro. That actually happens.
Did I say teen? Sorry, I meant middle school dating app for Minecraft. Sorry, middle school and YouTuber dating app. My bad.
I'm not responsible for these problems.
Just saying, if you're doing a range day with a whole bunch of YouTubers and suddenly there's an Amber Alert, statistically speaking, one of them did it. Just stand up and go, any of you... I'm not saying Pepperbox had this problem, it's just a joke, relax. Everybody gets an Amber Alert. Any of you a Minecraft YouTuber? All of you stand over here, the police have to talk to you for a minute. Carry on.
Anyways.
I don't. I'm just explaining a reality we are dealing with on the internet.
But this is why I hate the commentary community sometimes. Like, I legitimately, like, fucking hate some of these people. Because it's always like, well, a lot of people went with this, right? Sure, I understand how a lot of people can get something wrong, but, like, there are also people in the space who are absolutely happy to be, like, wrong, as long as it's financially lucrative. I can't make a follow-up video because it won't get any views to correct the thing that I personally fucked up, right? So they're not incentivized to correct anything or tell the truth. They're incentivized to do what people want to click on. And if there's a jerk wave going on, well, people are going to want to click on the negative video. So that's what drives me crazy. There's, like, a fucking incestuous commentary community right now that is a for-profit misinformation machine or whatever, and then whenever it gets called out, they all have, like, a huge pity party for themselves. Oh my god, I can't believe this turnaround. What? Wow, this plot twist is crazy. Guys, we really gotta be better at this in the future. It's like, no, it's a for-profit misinformation machine.
For someone that's
And this pretty much, at the end of everything, is pretty much all you need to know about his background and the shit he's dealing with. Because this entire section is committed to Mutahar, which is just basically things that... Yeah, Mutahar did absolutely snake him in this situation, but he wanted to put a lot of the responsibility on people like Mutahar instead of putting a lot of the responsibility on himself instead. So, Almamax wants to be an internet sleuther. He does not know how to properly internet sleuth. His knowledge and lack thereof gets him in a position where his desire to make something of himself and be able to make something out of other people results in him fucking the job up so goddamn much and so damn badly that it can only ever be looked at as, wow, what a fucking retard. And everybody basically comes down to the side of, yeah, that's a fucking retard. And he's upset about the fact that he's not able to correct the record since. But he does certifiably blame a lot of the problems on the fact that he was getting snaked and the fact that Spencer's a dumbass.
Except the problems he has are because he's a stupid piece of shit.
That would be accurate, yes.
Oh boy, let's see how he blames fucking Mutahar for this.
Mostly this has to blame to... This plays into his argumentation about the mass psychosis that everybody just simply wanted to hate him because it was cool. As Nicholas Dorio said there in the clip, basically people getting involved because they, quote, want to be a part of the jerk wave. This is clearly what's happening with Pirate Software. Pirate Software earned the jerkwave. Marma Max also earned the jerkwave, within reason.
About 100 fact checks per day. If you think about a bank being over-leveraged, and how much risk are they, how far over their skis are they, we've got about 200 billion to 100 in terms of scale of information that's running through a system without moderation. With, as Senator Sass said, the decentralized incentive for yellow journalism, if it leads, it wants to make each of us into yellow journalists, because we each get more rewarded the more extreme things that we say in an inadvertent way. So in a subtle way, in this very slow climate change culture, just by 2%, increasing the kind of outrageousness of what you're saying, sensationalism of what you're saying, you get a few more likes, you get a few more hits, and so you keep doing it, and suddenly that heats up the global conversation and has us not even recognize our fellow Americans as fellow Americans.
There's also more than just criticism.
A mass psychosis is an epidemic of madness, and it occurs when a large portion of a society loses touch with reality and descends into delusions. Such a phenomenon is not a thing of fiction.
We are controlled by the algorithms that push us one way or another.
Social media divides us, makes us more extreme and less empathetic. It riles us up or sucks us into doom scrolling, making us stressed and depressed. It feels like we need to touch grass and escape to the real world. New research shows that we might have largely misinterpreted why this is the case. It turns out that the social media internet may uniquely undermine the way our brains work, but not in the way you think.
So yeah, it's just a fact.
Well, there are concerns about misinformation. We should, just like when people raised other concerns in the past and we try to deal with them. Okay, yeah, people if you ask people, no one says that they want misinformation, so maybe there's something that we should do to basically try to address this. But I was really worried from the beginning about basically becoming this sort of decider of what is true in the world, right? That's a kind of a crazy position to be in for billions of people using your service.
That is simply what we are doing. Was the call between you, Muda, and Diorio just an auditory hallucination we all experienced during mass psychosis? No, it wasn't. However,
I'm tired of the drama chatter mentality where if somebody doesn't say exactly what you want in the exact words that you would say it, in a situation that's tense for them that you probably couldn't possibly comprehend, oh well, he asked for it, oh well, he could have said this. I think that some chatters think that these situations are a lot simpler than they actually are in real life, and there's other things that are working at play other than or a veil of hindsight that we use to dictate what should or shouldn't have been said.
And for that reason, I'm going to clarify what I say in that call. Since there's so much to cover, I'll be going over the call in another video. However, it's important to note that we entered into this call under false pretenses. Mudahar made it seem like he was going to do everything in his power to present the situation with objectivity and the justice it deserves. And instead, he chose to breach his NDA, again, leaking the call to the public without our consent, and drunkenly dogpiling us with his commentary buddies, breaking multiple YouTube community guidelines in the process, which caused both cyberbullying and cyberstalking against me and the survivors of Camden.
The entire fetus has been removed, and the risk for infection is almost guaranteed at that point. So that's where a bit of, obviously, I'm sure you read the Reddit, I'm sure you read the people critical of the situation. And this is
You know how bad I wanted to just be like, bitch, have you read the farm spread?
Well, we just fucking did 3 seconds ago. I was fucking reading lower screaming. Jesus.
In fact, I would encourage all of you to try watching that video with fresh eyes and convince yourself that this is not a symptom of mass psychosis. Once again, though, since there's so much to cover about that call, I'll be doing that on another video. Mama Max, are you still going to end Charlie? Why did anyone think I was being serious in that video? Just behaving like a genuine piece of shit. I liked Charlie.
I like Mama Max.
And I felt he could do a lot of justice for this case. Understandably, Charlie was not happy about this, and during the live stream, he vented to his audience.
We talked like a month ago about what he was working on in his investigation, and then apparently when I had COVID, he messaged me a couple times and I never saw it, and now he's taken that as me ghosting him and ignoring his very important mission, and it really rubs me the wrong way. Instead of just he's jumping to the most extreme possible explanation for me not seeing it, which is really fucking cringe. That did make me upset. There, yeah, that really rubbed me the wrong way. I had COVID. I barely used Discord in the first place. It was a miracle I ever even saw his message to begin with, and then I spent 12 days not doing anything online in bed. And during that time, apparently, it changed his whole framing of the video in order to make it like a Trojan horse of cancel critical because he didn't respond to my messages and ghosted me. So yeah, that did rub me the wrong way. Good intentions, but I did not like that.
I can see now that he felt blindsided and hurt, which is fair. However, I think it's important to lay out the facts. I reached out to Charlie on October 23rd, giving him a brief rundown of my current project. He responds 25 minutes later, claiming he hasn't done reaction.
Yes, that is in fact the opening title crawl sequence music for RuneScape, old school RuneScape. He actually has a playlist of the music that is involved in this project. He does not have any of his... No, let me finish. He does not have any of the evidence in which he is referencing in the material that he's putting to the screen as a part of the material that he is reviewing. But he has the entire playlist of every single song involved in the project listed in a presentation as a play-by-play of what came through. I'll even give you the list.
Give it to them. I don't fucking want it.
Yeah. See, I knew this would piss you off. I knew it would piss you off. I knew it. Yeah. So that is pretty much the long and short. That's everything. He's angry at Spencer because Spencer's a fat ass slouch that won't work for herself. He's angry at Mudahar because Mudahar basically made him lolcow target number 1. He was annoyed but understands why he was pissed off that other people didn't help him as much. And of the people who were vocal about this, why Charlie was the person that he was particularly annoyed with because he figured, if my YouTube friends help me elevate this, we can get this shit trending and do some real work. He certifiably was harassed by internet lolcow tippers on the internet, trying to make him even more of a lolcow target in the Dragon Lord style. And he refused to take accountability at the end of the day fully, and instead said, yeah, but this is the reason why this happened. and then tried to put it all on Spencer and say, but guys, look, dogs. I love dogs. I love dogs!
I like fail girl horses. That doesn't justify everything I do.
You like feral girls in general.
Not necessarily in general. Some of them are adorable and need protecting, and other ones need to be buried in the Mojave Desert, like Moira in Fallout 3.
So which one is red from Section 13?
Oh, that's protection. That's too adorable.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'm gonna regret this, but you said you had something to say about something called a leadhead?
Yes, Leadhead. Do you want me to give you the short version of Leadhead or the long version of Leadhead?
I'm gonna go get a Diet Pepsi, and then I'm gonna regret saying the words long version.
Ah, you're gonna hate yourself. Go get a Jack and Coke.
I don't have any Jack, I just have the Diet Pepsi.
Get alcohol in general.
I already drank that. I probably shouldn't have then, from your reaction.
Go get more alcohol. If you don't have more alcohol, get some food. You're gonna stress eat.
Well, you're not really paying me, so I'm going to drink this Diet Pepsi and cry. I have some pretzel buns in here in my office. I'll eat those.
Horror, where we're currently having this conversation is happening inside of Geistwind. You'd have to join and we'd have to officiate you as a moderator. Is that something you want to do? It's just how I have it set up to him right now at the time. Although, with Leadhead, we probably could make it a three-way call. I'll have to wait till he gets back.
Who is he?
Horror, my head mod. Administration punishment. And then is a she. A real she!
Bullshit, ain't no such thing on the internet.
Kappa. Okay, I'm sending her an invite. Push her to Shadow Chat.
Okay, yeah. So you want me to drop this and then join the Shadow Chat, or?
No, I'm going to get her into the server, give her the permissions to Shadow Chat.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Let me know when they join. Member event. Damn it. Member events.
I'm going to send you a invite link to General Horror, and he's going to then pull you into Shadow Chat, and then we're going to make sure you have the proper permissions to join the call directly. Give him a second. He's doing it mid-things. You are going to regret saying that you wanted to know the full context of Leadhead, because I don't need notes for Leadhead. I can tell you directly, because I already have my notes, and then I already watched the new content. Boy, you are fucked.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. Okay, so I'm just waiting for her to join the Oh, you need the new link. Hold on. There's my group chat. Where's my pins? There we go. Copy that. Talk while I tap so I don't lose where I am. There you go. Get rid of that one, because that one will dump her right into the thing that shows her verifying the rules, and then have her post something in general so that I can then grant power and authority.
Okay, I just gave her a link. Give her a second.
The irony is I make the Minecraft YouTuber joke while I sit here autistically building pyramids in a super flat.
I can't comment. I'm playing Don't Starve Together.
Well, in my defense, I was playing Inquisitor Martyr earlier, but I'm just gonna go back to that. I have a feeling purging heretics with bolt weapons is probably going to be better for my soul for this conversation.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, apparently it and all of the DLC was on sale for $15 for the summer sale, because the oppressor-in-chief Frogman bought it.
Okay.
Honestly, it's a pretty decent game it's a pretty good game for $15, but I paid full price. I bought this when it came out.
Okay, Horizon.
Okay.
Welcome, short woman.
Post something into the general chat.
No, she's inside the call right now.
Oh, what?
Hi. Sorry in advance. I am cooking food. I'm doing woman things.
I didn't realize you were already in. Like, no, she's here now. Not even in general. I beat you to it.
We work fast.
So you asked for the full context of Leadhead, and she offered to call in because she was there for every single blow-by-blow, as well as the update.
I was the one that gave this to him.
Yes.
Oh, God.
She gave it to me, and she gave it to Foggy. She gave us a
No, I got it from Foggy. I got it from Foggy.
Oh, so Foggy's the one that gave you drama aids, and then gave it to me!
Technically, it was Beckett and FPS Diesel that gave it to Foggy, and then I caught onto it.
Oh, so all y'all just responsible for giving us AIDS and gangbang by exposing us to this goddamn bullshit.
Hey, you at least get grade A entertainment when I give it to you.
Nobody clip that. Nobody clip that! No one clip it!
Clip it and ship it, boys.
Okay.
I give my husband the S-rated content.
So.
Clip that and ship it.
So you asked for the full context, and she and her and I can both rip for this from memory. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the part that everybody's interested in, or you want to go into detail with how fucked and depraved she is?
Do we want to go chronologically, or do we want to go through severity of accusations and bullshit?
Oh God, let's channel our inner Digimon the movie too and go back to the beginning.
Oh boy.
Digimon the movie 1 for those of you that are sad and had to watch it in North America.
He'll ask for the Amanda Anaconda version of the Digimon movie.
Oh my God!
Oh no! I forgot that was a thing. I feel so sorry for all of North America that you had to watch that.
I suddenly feel dirty, and we're supposed to be talking about Leadhead.
I feel dirty that I'm forced to reside in the country that produced that nightmare.
Bro.
What is a man? Not Leadhead.
No. Well, yes. And no.
Miserable pile of secrets, but enough talk, have at you.
Okay, so, short answer of who Leadhead is. Leadhead is a transsexual woman who is in a polyamorous relationship, not by consent. And when I say not by consent, because initially what happened was, what happened was, she was dating a girl, they moved out together, they got a roommate, there was another woman. Girlfriend started having very bad depressive episodes, and that meant less sex for sex-crazed Leadhead, who admits that they are 100% a sex pest.
Okay, so I feel like I don't need to ask this, but I'm pretty sure I know the answer, just from context clues. But when you say transsexual woman, you don't mean woman to man, you mean man to woman.
Male to female. Male to female.
I really didn't need to ask, but I figured I might as well. Continue.
Yeah, she has a princess woman. So what had happened was her girlfriend, and this other chick, who's had two different fucking names, and we don't know exactly which one is the right one. Doesn't matter. They all move in together in one apartment or a condo or whatever. She doesn't specify either. And because girlfriend becomes depressed and doesn't want to have sex and doesn't want to touch her princess one, she starts having sex with the roommate behind her girlfriend's back after the girlfriend has said that's her worst fear. Does this for at least a year, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, Carl. At least a year.
Yes.
And then she decides when she goes to, Leadhead, decides that when she goes to pick up her girlfriend, she waits in the parking lot and decides, I need to tell her the truth. Then breaks to her, after she gets off of work, I've been fucking our roommate behind your back because you're not meeting my needs.
With the justification being, the important part here is the justification is, I couldn't control your depression, so I focused on what I could control, and then one thing led to the other, and I fell, and she landed on my dick multiple times.
Yep.
So I was not expecting Princess Wand, but then again, neither was anybody Leadhead picks up at the bar. Continue. Actually, let's be real, that's not the case at all. I have a sinking suspicion that if you looked at Leadhead, you would absolutely expect a Princess Wand.
Don't worry, it gets worse.
Christ.
So because the girlfriend finds out about this, they kick out the other woman, and because Leadhead decided that she couldn't keep a princess one in her skirt, they get kicked out of their apartment and have to go live with Leadhead's parents again. Yes. And eventually, they meet up with, I'm going to call them boy and girl as they call them in the videos, because they don't give us a really name. They start seeing these two people, both of which, to my understanding, Leadhead was fucking. Because Leadhead convinced her once girlfriend, then fiance, yes, they got engaged and they are now married. Don't know why. To allow her to be in a polyamorous relationship. That's why I said it's not by consent, it is by force. Because it's been made very clear from things that Leadhead has said that the girlfriend / fiance, now wife, did not want to have an open relationship. But Leadhead needed to fuck things. So, they start seeing, I think boy first. Boy is another male to female, if I'm not mistaken, person who they started fucking, and then eventually, through fucking boy, she realizes, oh my god, I feel very parental towards you. You're gonna be my son.
Oh, no.
It gets worse. Then, from my understanding, girl comes into the picture. Very similar thing. Fucking girl. Oh my god, we have a very familial connection. You're gonna be my daughter. And even worse, eventually, the homewrecker comes back into their life, and they all are having these giant gangbangs, from what I understand.
Giant family gangbangs.
Yeah. And then comes the fun part, the really fun part. Not only does Leadhead get off on fucking her quote-unquote family, she's also a puppy girl.
On camera, barking at the camera. She offered to
As an
give.
OnlyFans-
She offered to give tutorials in the video in which they did this, which was featuring the background of Nintendogs, but I'm pretty sure this is content on the OnlyFans.
Yeah. Yeah. So, not only does she say that I can't control my princess wand because my princess wand is overreactive and I just can't. I need to have it touched all the time, every day, all day, every day. She does it because she's quote unquote puppy brained.
And when she gets confronted, because I took timestamps. One of the responses that the fiance would give them is that, I know you're puppy brained, but you still understand right from wrong. With the explanation being that whenever they are confronted with problems, they can retreat into the mental doghouse and go complete squirrel brain. And the more that they would wear the dog collar, the more that they would turn into a dog person, becoming more animalistic, and explaining that it's because they're Aetherian, not because that they are a sexually depraved person. Now, for context, I was given a playlist of these videos. This video playlist advances backwards into the future. The first video on the list was the oldest video on the list, which was the one the internet was made aware of that is currently now unlisted on her channel. Which is why the series was named Carving God from the Wood of Her Hunger. Because basically, this video was Leadhead's way of announcing that they are a mother in a transgender polycule, and that they were going to be a better parent to their adult children than her biological parent was ever to her. Mind you, in the third video in the playlist of content, while they were trying to insert themselves into the parental relationship of boy and themselves to boy's biological parent, they tried to justify inserting themselves into the relationship between the biological father and boy, while at the same time completely overlooking the fact that their biological father, Leadhead's biological father, the one that's supposedly a piece of shit that she never has a conversation with, including the mother, who she never has a conversation with, was so much of a monster that he chose willingly to put his own mental comfort and emotional comfort at risk to try and comfort these children, air quote, ages 19 and 20 at the time of their being involved in this orgy, into having some level of grandparental comfort while they were staying with the parents. Leadhead would complain about the daughter being a, air quote, daughter, being a digital spook. Quote, my daughter is a digital spook. They are escaping into a horrible home life of potential abuse, and they moved in with us. I'm worried that I'll tell my daughter to chill on technology, and that she'll take off to try and use the internet.
What do they mean by spook?
As in, literally, a digital haunt. They don't come out of the room. All they do is they stay on the internet.
Okay, because I
know where your brain was going.
Racism.
Yeah.
So, we're finally gonna get to go. And we're excited. Our little weeb hearts are gonna be so excited. I get to go to the Pokemon Center.
So you go to the Pokemon Center.
I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you because you've already admitted to having weeb status.
Oh, I'm weeb trash. I am white girl hot topic weeb trash. I am not going to be shying away from that.
Listen, the silly horse girls make me smile because I've seen the actual some of these horses at races. At least the older, deader ones.
Fair enough.
Also, special weeks in male.
What about being male?
Special week, the basically like the one that they centered the anime around, and it's basically right front and center on their splash screen, and it's the horse girl everyone recognizes.
Ah,
that's a dude. That's a male horse in reality. Apparently, whichever ear they have their accessories in denotes whether it was a male horse or a female horse IRL.
You know what? I'm not surprised. Japan's weird. But I like
Hey,
it.
it works. It works. It works. Okay?
That's weird, but I like it. I mean, my husband and I are probably gonna go find one of those panty vending machines for shits and giggles.
Hey, those don't actually exist.
Are you sure about that?
There was one as a, I mean, there might be more, but there used to be one as a marketing ploy. They also weren't used. There's a whole thing. If we're talking about specifically the same machine, there's a whole thing that happened.
Oh wait, no, that's why I specifically said panty vending machines and not used panty vending machines. I'm aware.
I think there is actually a couple like ones that give you new ones for like in case you got a spot.
Yeah. Because I was like, are you sure about that? Because I've definitely seen video footage of panty vending machines. Not used ones, mind you, but...
No. I'm pretty sure there's new ones in case you had a spot.
Yeah. But I'll just do it because it'll give me a laugh.
From work.
It'll just give me a laugh, that's all.
I know there was one that was an advertisement for a Hostess bar. And instead of them being used, they bought new panties and just like rubbed the crotch with like a cold can, so it would be like slightly damp looking and like rumpled. And then they put it in the machine. But when you went to buy them, it spat out a gift certificate for the bar. For, like,
that's hilarious.
Money off their drink.
That's funny. See, y'all Japanese are smart.
We try. Not smart.
You smart motherfuckers.
Whatsoever.
I mean, you were really stupid for a long time, so I mean, it's probably a good thing that you're not so stupid.
Fault. That was actually legitimately communist subversion's fault that we touched the boats.
Oh, I know.
So,
but you can't say that for China, though.
No. Well, I mean, I could say some things, but I can't because Carl will get mad at me.
That's true. I shouldn't be egging you on, but I can't help it. I can't help it sometimes.
You can egg me on your date.
Sometimes I want to touch the poo. I can't help it.
Listen, you can egg me on at a later date when I have OBS set up for myself, and I can put that video on a different platform that won't make Carl kill me.
Fair enough.
So,
see, I understand. Because remember, head mod, I'm the one that keeps him from doing retarded shit on streams.
Oh yeah, and now you're in here doing retarded.
I'm his turret wrangler.
And now you're the one that needs to be wrangled. Nature is healing.
No, I wrangled myself. Nobody needs to wrangle me. I know when I'm getting too far into the stupid. I know when I'm going full Tropic Thunder. Never go full Tropic Thunder.
You came a little close. I almost said some things. For legal reasons, that's a joke. So Carl, has your internet fixed itself yet?
For the past 5 minutes.
He's just been having fun listening to us yap. He was gonna see how far we went.
Yes.
He wanted to see if you get my opinions on a certain event in a certain city that starts with the letter M. But we won't go there.
I know exactly where Carl's mind went from. It went from, what the fuck are they talking about, to, oh, let's see where horror goes with this. Let's see how far this is gonna go, and if I need to turn off the switch.
No, it was more like I wanted to. It was more like I wanted to see what would happen if I let the children play with themselves. That came out
Exactly.
wrong.
That's what I said. You wanted to see where I would go with it.
Play with themselves? What are you talking about?
I don't need that. I have a husband for that.
I just put what I almost referred to in the side chat there for you.
I got a husband with a big dick. I don't really need to touch myself.
What have I done?
There is no shame in my game.
Funny, my wife says the same thing. Anyway.
You sure about that?
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Ironically, yes. She's made some comments about.
Wait. I shouldn't be questioning you. You have a Nigerian wife telling that you, a Japanese man, that you got a big dick. I can't say anything. Never mind.
Exactly.
Carry on. Carry on.
People attention to the fact my father is a naturalized citizen. So yeah, if you check the side, you'll see what I was trying to not refer to out loud, or Carl would skin me alive.
Okay.
Oh, I know. My husband and I are fucking well, we're not. He's a history nerd. I just tune in on it. We were listening to this long ass, like 10-hour podcast about the history of Japan, and it went into great detail on that. I was like, oh god.
Listen. If you didn't want us to come inside, you wouldn't have opened the gates.
You wouldn't have opened your legs. I know where you're going. I know where you were going. Carl said racier things. You're fine.
Are you two finished?
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm making friends, Carl.
I'm not stopping you from making friends. I know what I am. Sometimes I'm the farmer. Sometimes I'm the bumper crop.
Sometimes I tip you over.
Sometimes you're the one picking the crop. It depends.
It just so happens to be convenient that I happen to have a large head, and the content usually takes form of a giant crystal football.
This is true.
Anyway.
I'm going to have to explain so many things to my priest when I apologize on the same day.
Well, lucky enough for you, I'm an atheist, so I don't give a fuck.
I'm a Catholic. There's so much I have to apologize for this week.
Oh, it's fine. It's a weird dichotomy. My husband's a Christian, and I'm an atheist. It's weird, but it works.
So how many times did you just randomly whispered in your ear that you're going to hell?
Never, actually.
Uh-oh. Don't ever bring it up. You might accidentally create a new fetish.
No, because we have an understanding that if I die and God's sitting there in front of me, I will accept him. We're Gucci. He's cool with that.
Nobody needs to know the joke that just went through my head, and I'm not repeating it on camera. I'll tell you later.
Yes, okay. Yes, I will God if I have to.
Okay, so you know exactly where my mind went.
This is why your head nod.
I'm gonna have to explain and apologize for you too, god damn it.
This is why I'm your head mod, Carl.
I am going to hell for so many reasons, and this isn't even the newest one. Or even the worst one.
Look, at least now you can see the reason why I keep her around.
See, I can wrangle him all I want, but sometimes I'll get in the mud too.
So how does this story get so much worse?
Okay, so
go ahead, Carl.
You've got Leadhead, basically. I don't like using this word very often, but this word is the only applicable word to properly describe the level of goonery that this is. Trooning out. Then you have them getting involved with the roommate and having sex with them behind the fiance's back, and then giving them the Usher confessions, and then the Usher confessions part 2. And then everybody becomes a great big trans house family. Unironically quoting the transy house that exists in places like New York City, where it's a trans halfway house where, rather than everybody having sex with each other, although let's be honest, it probably happens. They probably do.
They probably are. They probably are, yeah.
They are actively having sex while having a family dynamic. Boy and girl are responsible for being trans because they were groomed into being trans because of Leadhead. Leadhead gloviates and puts themselves and the relationship front and center on camera. And I quote, I get to talk about it because my fiance said it's okay.
Let's keep in mind that in that last video about how Tyler the Creator's discography is her life story, she's got Boy and probably her wife making out on camera.
So I'm pretty sure I've seen this one before. What was it called?
Oh, you probably... What?
What was it called again? Onichi-chi?
What do you mean?
The title. I really hope you didn't get that joke. I really, really hope you did not get that joke.
No, I'm so confused.
Don't worry
I'm
about
so
it.
confused.
Don't worry about it. It's the same dynamic, but it's
my white girl brain just shorted out.
Oh no, that means you're a healthy weeb and not a goonie weeb from the 2000s.
I mean, I can be a goonie weeb. I saw the helicopter things that were in your hentai.
Oh no, this is.
We're going into uncharted territory, boys.
Oh no, this is well charted by a lot of people. This is
You can DM it to me or something.
I'm not DMing a link to this. It's a very similar dynamic, except everybody is heterosexual. And involving a stepfather and multiple female stepchildren. It's the same thing. It's literally the same dynamic.
Stepsister, why are you stuck in the washing machine?
No, more like, stepsister, why are you your head bobbing in front of Papa's pants? Carry on.
That's not shocking at all. I grew up in the world of one guy, one jar, and two girls, one cup. That is not surprising.
Oh God, you! Oh no, wait, no, not saying that. Never say that to a woman. They will hurt you.
I'm old. Yes, I know. I'm gonna be 33. I'm old.
God, we're the same age.
We're both old and we know it.
Yeah.
Old ass.
And you're
I knew I was old.
Child's not 17.
I do not have a child, so.
Exactly. That's why I said in your defense.
Yes.
You're old, but not stupid and old. I am 32 going on 97, but we're just not going to address that and carry on.
Yes.
So
this gets worse, I take it. Past trans Onichichi, how does this get worse?
So, everybody is fully aware at this point of the internet about their desire to basically have this relationship that they would litigate through people hearing about it, which is why part of this information, and what I chose to do with my work, was documenting how many times it occurred. In almost every single video, there is some part in the back of the video where they are showing the people who are responsible for helping fund their ability to basically talk shit about everyone around them, which is mainly their Patreon members. The last time I did the calculation, they are earning somewhere between $1,700 to $1,800 a month from audience members, giving them the permission to just basically talk about their personal life, which then, from the early impressions of motherhood video, prompted Leadhead to go on to Blue Sky and complain about the alt-right, otherwise known as everybody with a normal fucking functional brain on the internet, hearing about these details that they put in their own content, and telling her to tell them that A, as audience members, stop telling me about people who are making content about me. What am I supposed to do about it? 2, what is anybody who's in my audience who likes trans creators supposed to be doing, watching the content whatsoever, because they can never interact with us in good faith. And 3, my videos are quiet, hyper-personal explorations of subtle social and mental concepts, and no one in the audience should just believe that you fuck dogs because you wear a collar sometimes, which was never the accusation people made.
I also have... Before we get into that, hold on. Before we get the question, keep in mind that this person started working on YouTube, or started making content on YouTube, talking about Half-Life and Minecraft.
Of course, Minecraft's involved. Of course. Of course. I swear to God, if you're at, like, what's the YouTube convention, the big one?
VidCon?
Yeah, VidCon.
VidCon. Yeah, if there's an Amber Alert at VidCon, just segregate all the Minecraft YouTubers.
I don't disagree with you.
So this person gets money for doing this through Patreon. Yes. It's starting to sound like we should open one up.
Don't forget, not just Patreon, OnlyFans.
Yeah, we're not going that way.
Or Fansly.
No. Moving on. I don't wanna.
We don't want to get into that can of worms, do we?
We found
I don't wanna.
the fact that we found something that you don't want to get into.
No, we'll talk about it. I just don't want to see it.
I don't want to see it either. I introduced Carl to man, she, he, Roblox.
I mean, I was aware of Oblax, but I didn't know about his transgender transformation.
That's another funny story we can tell you.
Oh, God. Oh, we're just flashbanging the Asian man for money and clicks. This is...
We're not going to show it to you. Don't worry. I may be mean, but I'm not that mean.
Allegedly.
I mean,
Allegedly!
Listen, you could probably get away with it. I don't... No. I'm actually... You know what? I'm just going to type that out instead. One second. That's not something I'm going to say out loud. Where is that? There it is. And just going to open that up real quick.
Does Horror count as a hag now? I don't know, Horror, do you count as a hag?
For my husband.
Or her husband?
Ma'am, you are not a hag. You are not a hag. You are his peer.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that.
Oh no! You don't get to play that game. I gotta hear this.
Nope.
You can always type it. I gotta hear this.
I'd rather not, because he's in the room right next to me, and he will get very, very upsetty spaghetti.
It must be good.
I would like to get dick in the, very near future, okay?
Oh, no. Oh, no, you Macron. I just saw someone. I'm going to hell. Okay, I finished typing how you could get away with flashbanging me like that. We should continue.
I'm done, Carl. Go ahead.
Okay. So, Bloodhead would get angry at the internet, daring to look into their personal life because they chose to put it on the internet for people to consume. Quote, I really don't need to hear about it every time some chud decides to make shit up about me, so please stop telling me about it, and for your own sake, my queer or allied friends, stop engaging with it yourself. It's not good for any of our headspaces. Let them have their fun, get bored, and move on. They ultimately have zero impact on reality, and so engaging with it on social media arguments can only ever drag you down. I appreciate the concern, but I have nothing that these people can take from me. My audience is smarter than that, so leave it alone and let me have my blissful ignorance. So not just...
I mean, there's nothing we can take from you because you put it all on the internet yourself.
Yes.
Well, you can't really take something that you willingly gave to everybody else.
So not
Exactly.
not only was the approach to basically victim blame the entire internet, but claiming that the entire internet was responsible for what they chose to do themselves and acting as though everybody else was doing it to them rather than doing it to us, and us saying, but why though? And asking basic answers. Victim blaming us when all we did was victim ask questions and victim expect explanations. Which then would lead into the news video. And for that one, I'm just going to show you the thread, or rather the thumbnail. Horror knows what thumbnail looks like, but I'm going to show you what I made from thumbnail, because I'm proud of it. It was wonderful. It was a nice piece of work. I'm just
going to say, judging from her behavior, the internet most definitely is the victim.
Mm-hmm. We were all a victim of knowing that she is now trans, because one day after being an absolute fuckboy, she goes, oh, I think I'm going to change my name.
So, the thumbnail of the video is this. I invented the images that are obviously assisted with help from Grok analyzing. I specifically chose to make her look like she was a Art Deco flapper, and I made an expressionist art picture of Tyler the Creator. But basically, Leadhead wanted to use Tyler the Creator to explain how their journey into being trans was actually a bit of a deep dive about their personality. Assuming that there are people in my audience who haven't seen it, the image exists here. But the video itself actually contained a secret, and what it contained is that the roommate that they had cheated with, now basically on the outs inside of the polycule, this was Leadhead's opportunity to say that they're going to be excluding her. Him, her, Zimzer, Zem, Zimizam, Zimiwag Woggle, from the sexual festivities moving on in the future. In the middle of the content, you have the other playmates, I'm going to call them, basically showing up on camera, assisting as background noise, assisting as interplay for, hey, why don't you stop beating around the bush, you just talk about expletive name deleted. And even, I don't know, kissing, hugging in the car seat, while Leadhead sits in the back doing their artsy-fartsy bullshit.
Wow, Leadhead sits in the cuck chair.
And throughout the entirety of the video, she just simply gets multiple things about Tyler, the Creator's experience wrong. Just completely analyzing it completely incorrectly. What did I call her? Anthony Transtano?
Something like that.
Basically the worst takes that you could ever get from the Needle Drop, featuring Anthony Fantano. She was extremely wrong, horrible takes, and just simply could not grasp the fact that maybe Tyler, the Creator, is not for them. Because obviously, she became a new fan off of Chromacopia. That's the obvious truth to me. As an individual who doesn't even listen to music like that anymore, because I haven't had to professionally work as a fucking vocalist for years, outside of when people hit me up for basic projects, and when I make parody songs. But perhaps I should change that. Batch number 3 of Hey, Garrett O'Carl is coming out soon. Perhaps I should change that. I should start getting back to making my parody songs. Anyways, she became a new fan of Chromacopia. She went through the back catalog. She started probably binge-watching Loader Squad, and basically thought, what? I didn't know he was Black Sam Hyde, and tried to claim him for the trans. Because he himself has come out as, at minimum, bisexual, at maximum, Frank Ocean gay. So, using her video, she tried to use it as a way to say how she's such a big fan of Tyler being artsy-fartsy, and then at the back end of the video, admitting that it was basically a way for them to announce that they were removing the sex partner that was responsible for the cheating that they implemented against their partner to begin with. So, they got into a relationship, they cheated on the partner with the roommate, they then created a situation where the roommate made them tell the truth, because this is an important detail from when they cheated. So back at the second video, I will not be making a Minecraft song about Leadhead unless somebody pays me an extravagant amount of money to do it.
Sweet lasagna, sweet lasagna.
Listen, that was listen, that was $30. That was $30. Someone's gonna have to pay me $100. I am not making a transgender individual I don't like famous.
I am not listening
They're already
to something
famous.
called Pink Lasagna.
They're
He
infamous.
paid
That's
the
different.
$30. He was paid to record it.
That's because he recorded it.
Anyways.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to pay me to listen to it. How about that?
Okay. So, back on the details. From 5/22 to 7/23. I was hoarding secrets to protect others, but I didn't plan on my heart being opened. I was evil, and now I'm good. Flat out admittance of their girlfriend with a long preamble about honesty while making the admittance of performative video essay content. I was in love with her while I was cheating on her. I respect her too much not to break her heart, but I just had to come clean. It was over before I told her. I wasn't strong enough not to cheat on her, and to not come out fully clean. That's the most selfish I've ever been. And the reason why I wrote that down in that section is that Leadhead chose to cheat, but then only told the partner half of the truth. The roommate that they cheated with would be the one that forced them to come fully clean, and this would then become the egging point that, performatively in the beginning of the video, they complain as they're walking out of the door of their building, saying, ugh, why doesn't she just fucking go away? What does she want from us? She referring to the cheating partner that has been in the relationship since the start in the 5-way polycule. The fact of the matter is Leadhead created content where they documented their history. In the series of the playlist that I was handed, that was the basis upon which I did my review of it, starting from the first video in the series, and then moving backwards. So starting from the most recent and going through the most oldest, Leadhead started becoming trans, attaching themselves to the idea of the female character from Ico, then attach themselves to excusing away their sexual urges as being puppy-brained, so they don't have to think about the fact that they love cummy-wummies, blaming the fact that they love sex.
Do not say that again.
I love cummy wummies.
You just say you're a woman. That sounds better.
They would justify saying the reason why they love cummy-wummies is because, I don't know about y'all, but I thought my friends being hypersexual as a pressure valve for social anxiety, because of course Leadhead is a performative person that is insecure, so if she's not having sex with you, she doesn't think that you're in a good place with her. No spine whatsoever to speak of. Only time that they have a spine is when an audience is performatively watching them progenerate themselves in front of a live studio audience while handing them money to do so, if only because it morbidly is curious to watch another transgender individual put themselves in front of the camera and do the shuck and jive. So it's the closest you will probably ever get to seeing real, true minstrel content on the internet. So every time somebody says minstrel,
only had a spine that was getting blown out by somebody else. But continue.
So anytime you hear a person say that they talk about something like digital blackface or digital transgender minstrelsy, this is probably the closest you'll actually get to that, because they are doing it to be paid to talk about themselves and their performativity in front of an audience while they're doing it. They would go on to cheat on their partner. They would then convince the partner as a way of getting back with them after they cheated and lied to them about how they cheated until they were forced to tell the full truth by the person they cheated with, that if they wanted the relationship to continue, that not only would they need to open the relationship, but they gave the then fiancé, now wife / spouse, the first hall pass. And therefore, once they started fucking everybody around them, the justification then became, I can be debaucherous because I have a hall pass from my woman. I'm allowed to do it. Gloviated about having sex with these people. Then, direct quote from the first episode, at, what was it, 440 to 9:07 and 10:55. Leadhead looking at their adult child sexually. I thought we were just going to be friends with benefits. My fiance and I were in an open relationship. It was on the table. He wasn't just a friend, he was my boy. Ever since my teens, sexual thoughts have always been in the forefront of my relationships. This young man taught me how to love as a mother. We were barely mid-20s trying to raise kids. What are we doing? My mother would call me cuckoo for wanting to eat a big lunch. So now I second guess if I'm allowed to marry a girl from Detroit unless I feel safe. That base level of normalcy conformity, is why I'm like this. She cared more about...
Her first problem is marrying someone from Detroit, but go on.
She cared more about being postcard perfect than being real. My bio family full of queers, pornographers, and addicts and pushers had to seriously bend reality to placate her. How could someone trade excitement and live for mediocrity? We're, namely Leadhead and the fiancé, are working on our calling in life to be mutual aid impromptu therapists with no degree. We didn't hide it from her. ... ellipses. We grew up in a house where you're expected to be neighborly with your rapist. It's better to ignore who your family is because it's better to pose for a postcard. I wanted to keep a tradition of making everyone watch a movie of my choosing, but I had to stop the movie to comfort my, quote, children. All I wanted to do was to have joy, was for them to be as committed as I am to making everything function and work. And then finally, I understood my mother, and I knew that I wouldn't decide about making my family's collective happiness be a mental health versus being performative family time acceptance for anyone's sake. Now I understand why so many women from the 80s, I didn't write that part down, those 70s and 80s, ended up on uppers. Is motherhood only thankless sacrifices? 1144, I will never let myself become corrupted in the same way. With that fear having thoroughly been philosophized out of my head, ... Thus looking at the idea of having to sacrifice as a parent being a fear that you could just talk away and it no longer affects you. You could just change...
Hold on. I'm never gonna let myself be corrupted. You are the corruption made manifest.
No, don't worry. We're gonna get to that one later. Don't worry. That's the kibosh that goes on the back end of the fucking newest video. But we're not done there. You need to hear this before you hear the rest of that. 12:10.
God.
Ugh, am I gonna have to be a mother? Fine, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna like it. 1348. Maybe she knew that she was never going to be really happy. Raising me framed that she would be sacrificing her life for my own, and thus becoming a personal affirmation. 1452. I will well, this one is me. This is me speaking through lines from her tongues. I will transcend the boundaries of motherhood. I will become the overmom, which is basically them saying, I'm going to be better. I'm going to be a better mother than my mother ever was, and I will become so much better than her that as a transgender woman, I will be better than her as a biological woman. At the intermission of the video, they will then take out time at 1608 to 1630 to try and justify why the children of the family should be allowed to talk to her sexually, while bragging about recorded public evidence of a leadhead committing a charge of distracted driving, unless it was for the camera, in which case that doesn't matter, but still simply playing shit up for the B-roll for the content. Then trying to give a history lesson from 1719, 2101, 2105, and 2417 about the history of queer spaces and how Leadhead and family know what they're doing, and it's not personally bad, but historically it's acceptable, because Roman men would have sex with twinks.
If I get hazard paid for listening to this?
Are you paying me?
Aren't you monetized?
Yes.
So am I getting hazard pay? I was fully expecting you to say no so I could go, I have made a terrible mistake.
You're being paid with friendship.
I want a copy of this video file later.
I present you this small white woman. You will take this small white woman.
You have presented me with a small muted white woman. This is true.
They would then go on to explain further that motherhood isn't giving your transgender adult sex partner and child grooming materials, because she would then explain how the trans house that was made in places like Stonewall and most queer communities inside of New York City completely make it normal and acceptable for you to teach people how to be transgender. And then would explain that actually it's completely fine for them to do this because they're trans and you're not, which I wrote down as explaining yourself doesn't remove, fix, or address directly how any of this directly helps you or the children, despite your desire to justify and quantify her parenthood because it inherently is connected to your sexual involvement. Because Leadhead literally cannot disconnect sexual involvement as a parental figure with sexual involvement as a hypersexual pornographer. They are directly intrinsically linked. She needs an audience, and she needs to specifically know that everyone is okay with the fact that they're exploiting themselves. They're like 5 steps removed from being an exhibitionist, but they're not quite willing to use the label. They call it something else. Then, at 2417, we started out with bad cop, good cop, heteronormative power structures, and completely suitable carrot and stick parental tactics. And then, one dominant overall, because good cop, bad cop meant that somebody would have to feel shitty about giving discipline. So specifically, they did not want to discipline the children the way that a normal parent would discipline kids, because they felt that if they had to tell children no, that was wrong. So a mom and dad telling the child, no, you can't have cookies because that's too much sugar, you have to go to bed, and a child, if I and Star are raising our child, Zulian, and Zulian groans and says, "Aww, Daddy, pick me up." Son, I can't pick you up right now, my hands are full. "Aww, Daddy, I want to have cheese sticks." Did Mommy say you could have cheese sticks? Yeah. Sweetie, did you tell him that he could have cheese stick? No, I didn't tell him he could have cheese sticks. Zulian, why did you lie to me? You're not getting cheese stick now. Go to your room. Aww. This is bad. This is evil, actually. You shouldn't have discipline and structure for your child. You should give them what they want at all times and firmly affirmate them with bad behavior. Because that's what heteronormative people do. And look at how destructive heteronormal people are in their own relationships.
My child asked if her girlfriend could stay over. I told her no. I must be a bad parent.
And then,
like, girl, you're 15. I am not letting her stay over. That's called being a good parent.
and then, we'll get to this section where it says, and then we went towards mutual bound sharing and stuck with switching off who would be good cop and bad cop to make the kids more receptive to direction and opinions granted by either child for the benefit.
These aren't children. These are adults.
Yes, the next section here at 2422 explains the adult children are dating someone. Does the partner of the child know about the sexual nature of the relationship? So, the children have their own personal lives as well, and they have people that they're having sexual relations with. To this date, I do not have confirmation on whether or not the children were telling the partners that they were sexually active with, whether or not that they were involved in an open, what basically became a polycube, where the children were having sex with the partners and were unknowingly or knowingly getting the back blow of whatever STDs or other dysfunctions were happening inside of the relationship. It wasn't quite a polycule dodecahedron in the form of something like School Days or Clanad, but it was approaching that. We don't know
School Days only has 2.
We don't know exactly how big the cube was getting, but there was the kids, and then there was the sexual partners of the kids, and then kids, air quote, and then there was Leadhead and the fiance and the roommate, and the 5 of them having sex with each other, and then no further information about any other partners, because apparently Leadhead also likes to hook up. I only recently learned that information, and I don't have confirmed proof of it, but I have been told that there are videos. Private videos.
God.
There's more details here. So, at 2647, I feel like the found family care more about me than about the bio family. I'm not worried about them seeing this. That's why I make my personal videos. My son trusts me with things that his bio family wouldn't. And then them telling me that I make them feel good told me that this is motherhood. And I should be proud of what I'm doing and that this motherhood I'm doing is real. Then, the final section, which is why I took a picture of the full screen, is them symbolically cutting down a tree, saying that the Giving Tree, which is what the video was based on, that's the title at least, Early Impressions of Motherhood, with a thumbnail that features the Giving Tree, being that found families are meant to stay together, unlike their bio families.
I think she's got that backwards.
Actively bragging to the camera about how they're using subtext to paint a narrative of the Honesty Saga, which is the saga of these videos that they had collected. It was all under a piece called Honesty, which is also the title of the video in question on the second one. Actively bragging to the camera about how they're using subtext to paint a narrative of the Honesty Saga, as well as talking about motherhood and the character of deeper conversation of sex, sexual experience, and the mentality of the sexual experience. Explicitly making the videos pretty to make them like watchable movies as a binge is a goal. And flexing all the money that they're making from the supporters that made it possible to make said context. Which then brings us to the thing that I told you then. So, remember how you said how actually she is the problem in the relationship?
She is the corruption made manifest, yeah.
So, one of the things that's very important to Chromacopia is that Chromacopia was basically brought about by the fact that Tyler, the creator, had a conversation with his mother and learned that his father did want to have involvement in his life, and that actually his mother went out of her way to do the same thing that most women do in black parent-household relationships, which was turning the children against the parental father, and thus denying the parental father connection to their children. So the children grow up hating the parent, and then they get told the truth, and then they ask themselves, but why did you tell me that dad didn't want me? So rather than the Will Smith reaction in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air saying, why does he want me, man? Tyler basically wrote an entire album about, a song for the album, which then became the emotional basis of Chromacopia. Do I look like my dad? Do I look like him? And in the closeout section of the content, it became very apparent, even to Leadhead as they were recording it, as they were trying to bullshit their way through this, that a lot of the problems that were being created in the format of their relationship was caused by them and their selfish behavior and their desires to push their will onto other people, And at no time did they ever take accountability for a single fucking thing that they were responsible for doing. Since everything is at the root cause their fault. The cheating, the polycule, the hall passes, the orgies, the development of the parental unit, the transgender moms raising the transgender children, the drama, the backlash from the drama, the attention being brought to their behavior because they made an entire playlist dedicated to talking about their drama. Everything is Leadhead's fault, and never do they take accountability for a single fucking second of it. Instead saying, damn you roommate, we have to ban you from our house because you're just a home wrecker. You transgender hussy! That is the long and short.
I have a sinking suspicion that a transgender hussy is in fact Leadhead.
Yes.
Yes. Yes!
We don't know. From what I understand, the home wrecker is biologically female.
Yes.
No, the home wrecker is in fact Leadhead.
Yes, but I'm talking about in the context of what Leadhead is saying in her head. Because you know she's living in a fairy tale.
What's in her head? No, that song deserves better.
So, biological female is blamed for all the problems that Leadhead created when Leadhead chose to be unfaithful. And after benefiting thousands of dollars from the left wing, and blaming all the fault on people like myself, which she said this before I made my video, but hey, it's much like pirate software. I chose to jump in on the bandwagon and make content and at least give them the fair shake to be heard out, rather than just making up words at them and calling them mean slurs like troon and troonshine and selling the troonshine and other such words said by people who are not me. I actually sat down and watched all the content, broke it down over a series of things.
Isn't troonshine what the Italians used? Because they started melting. They thought that you couldn't get estrogen anymore, so they were like melting plastic bags for the estrogenic chemicals.
No. The troonshine specifically refers to the idea of making DIY hormone therapy in the way of Bob Quinn posting from people like Keffels.
Yeah, but it was like, the way it was introduced to me is Italian trans people are melting plastic bags for estrogenic chemicals because they're not going to be allowed to buy estrogen anymore, and then the comment right below it was troonshine.
No, that's a comment that was being used to refer to what they were making. Troonshine refers to the idea of getting it from places like Okonoko Pharmacy, which is where the troonshine was being made with bathtub troonshine. You're thinking of plastic bag, boiled down troonshine. Two different things, word refers to both. One came before the other. But the internet popularized the second definition. Because of Keffels.
Okay.
So, she blames the chuds.
I
Go ahead. I'm waiting.
Of course Keffels is involved in that. Why wouldn't Keffels be involved in that? I swear to fucking God, I can't say anything about YouTube in my city without someone going, you mean like that woman that was abused by the police? No. Because I have this thing called self-respect and acknowledge the fact that I actually have a penis.
Bring it in,
Continue.
nigga. Nigga, bring it in. Bring it in, nigga. Anyways. Leadhead chooses to blame the entire internet and gooners and chuds for being exposed for things that they chose to talk about themselves, or raking in the dollars. And after raking in money after cheating on their partner with the biological female is being pushed out of the transgender group, so it is no longer a 5-way but a 4-way. And all of them are completely acceptable, fine, and okay with this. The audience is fine with this. Leadhead and the polycule is fine with this. Literally everybody consents except the female, who knows that the only reason this happened is because Leadhead tried to lie in the first place and didn't come true and honest, and I guess wanted to have Leadhead to themselves. I suppose. At least that's the narrative that Leadhead presents it as. The biological female wanted to pull Leadhead out of the relationship because I guess she thought that she could make them become straight and be more of a man.
I can fix her!
They thought that they could fix her. And Leadhead said, no, I'm getting deeper inside of the nylon-covered bunny hole. I'm going deeper down the rabbit hole. I choose to live in transsexual Transylvania. You cannot make me come out. And that's the tea.
So how does this get worse?
They continue.
This is gonna get worse.
They continue to keep hiding away from the internet, blaming everybody for their problems. They are basically right now coping to themselves inside of Blue Sky, also known as Blue Gold.
So that's actually where this nightmare story ends. Nothing's been left out.
It is further
As of right now.
As of right now. We will not know more until Leadhead decides to update with a new video, at which point I will get pinged about it, and then I'll have to review it again.
So what's this other horror show the short white woman wanted to put me through?
Oh, Boblacks. Oh, man, he Boblacks. Okay, so, have you heard of, Twitter versus? It's a YouTube series.
No.
Okay, well, what it was a hub or an archive point where a young man, now not sure what the fuck they are, named Boblacks, aka Josh, would archive information on Twitter, like Twitter fights that went down over the course of time, so that everybody that used his videos would have a chronological order of things that happened. It is now internet versus by somebody else who he doesn't like. So over the course of a period of I think it was been 5 years or so, Bill Blacks has gone completely fucking insane. And by insane, I mean becoming a compulsive liar, oversharing to his former friends, and just being an absolute sped every which way or form. And then, after he does a split from all these people because he has a fucking freak out, it comes to everybody's attention through his own streams that he has an OnlyFans and a Fansly account. Because he did not close out all of his tabs. And he accidentally shows a tab where every single email that he has is listed. The Switch account page. So on January 11th of this year, those people who saw this went and used those names of those accounts, which was Man She He. Yes, Man She He. You heard me right. And it was pictures of him in dresses, him in lingerie, his, I guess in this case, Princess One, and all of the above that you would never want to see. And it got spread like wildfire all over Twitter. So, if you ever see anybody saying this is 111 all over again, now you know why.
Don't pray for God, he's not here.
God left us a long time ago.
Clearly. There is a SIG 220 calling out to me like the Green Goblin mask.
Well, that's all I've got. If you have anything else, Carl, go for it.
No, that's it.
Cool beans.
No final thoughts?
So, what the fuck?
I can't tell you, bro.
No, I don't have any idea. I'm at a loss. This is the internet, bro.
None of the fuck is going on. Why do these people exist? Why are they allowed to exist?
Because people are bored
Because
on the
God
internet.
has forsaken us.
And because God has forsaken us.
Steve Buscemi was right in the Spy Kids too.
There's a lot of things that was right in Spy Kids too.
God does not come down from the heavens because he is afraid and ashamed of what he has created.
Yup. In fucking indeed.
This whole conversation just okay. This is somebody who's only 5 years older than these young people saying, I'm their parent.
Yes.
Yes.
While having sexual relations with them.
Yes.
Yes.
This raises no red flags?
Apparently
Raises
not.
all the red flags.
It's raised plenty of red flags here. It's raised a box of red flags.
It's raised all the red flags for everybody outside of Leadhead.
That's evidently blue sky.
Yes.
Like, do they think this shit is normal?
Apparently.
No. They think that this is better than normal.
This is the goal.
Yep. Remember, you gotta break down the family unit.
Break it down.
So it's bigoted.
I don't want to hear anything from people talking about, on the left, talking about fucking cults for the rest of my goddamn life.
Oh, the ones that are on the far left are our cults. So are the ones on the far right. It's everywhere.
Yeah, no, I don't want to hear nothing from anybody saying, you don't agree with me, you're in a cult. Listen, cults and I have a history. We'll put it that way. Not a formed a cult, not a joined a cult. We have a history, cults and I, and not a good one for the cult. I know what they look like. I know how they behave. I know how they act. You don't get to tell me I'm in a cult. You are, in fact, in the cult.
Yep.
Oh my god, you believe in a sky daddy? You're in a cult. Nah, bitch, you're trying to have sex with someone you say you're succeeding in having that sex with someone you call your child. That ain't normal. That is a cult.
Definitely is.
And now you know why fucking Megalag would not stop with the fucking Leadhead jokes.
God damn it. All straight to hell. Hell is too good. Send them to the warp. Lock them in with fucking bloodthirsters or some shit. Like,
Send them to the bottom of hell, to the ninth circle of hell.
Where they get shit on by demons, they'll probably like that. Hell is supposed to be a punishment, not a reward.
I mean, I don't know if they go that
far. Would you be surprised?
No, but I don't think they do.
Oh, please tell me you have some other fresh hell that I can use to distract myself from this entire discussion. Leadhead.
I have plenty of Horrorcows.
So she's got plenty of Horrorcows if you want more Horrorcows. Anything that
Cows?
Yeah, people that are themselves horrific and have created content about themselves, either for the purposes of people watching, or as a perfect vindication point of a jump-in moment. Yeah, there are plenty of people who exist for that.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh,
There's one that I recently found that I did not even give to Carl because it was so bad.
Oh, hit me.
I would not put it to fresh hell.
You can.
I need to go look into it again, but long story short, it is an insane Pokemon fanboy.
you cannot scar me worse than I have already been scarred.
If it made me go, what the fuck, and I've sent Carl some nasty shit, it's something else.
I need at least the surface level now. You can't tease me with this.
Oh god, how do I want to start this? Carl, you sure you want this on YouTube?
For our purposes, no. Y'all motherfuckers talk about this yourselves. Chat, we'll be leaving now. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. Goodbye.